Chapter 2254. Actually, I'm more inclined to the second possibility. Old Master Yu said. Moreover, Lin Yi was willing to give the information to Han Jingjing. If Boss Bai didn't approve and instruct it, it wouldn't make sense. Boss Bai is a more strict person. Even if he is more optimistic about Lin Yi, he will be disgusted if Lin Yi simply gives his things to others unless he agrees. So, that Han Jingjing might be an alchemist? Yupan, who didn't pay much attention to Han Jingjing before. In his impression, Han Jingjing was a pretty but silly girl. But now that he listened to his grandfather's analysis and thought about it carefully, it was really possible. It's very likely. Old Master Yu said. Han Jingjing. Yupan, who muttered this name silently. After you go back to school, pay attention to this Han Jingjing. If she really knows alchemy, then you must find a way to rope her in. Don't let her become Lin Yi's assistant. Old Master Yu pondered for a moment and made a decision. Even if we take a step back, we have to find a way to destroy the relationship between her and Lin Yi. I understand. Yupan, who listened to Old Master Yu's instructions and couldn't help but smile. Not to mention that Han Jingjing was beautiful. If she knew alchemy, then wouldn't it be great if he hooked up with her? In the future, his status in the hidden Yu family would also skyrocket. As a matter of fact, there weren't many women who knew alchemy. If Han Jingjing became his wife, then she would inevitably be one of the elders of the Yu family in the future. At that time, although Yupan Hu wasn't the family master, his status in the family couldn't be underestimated. Old Master Yu saw the smile on Yupan Hu's face and naturally guessed this kid's dirty thoughts, but he didn't care. If Han Jingjing was really an alchemist and had the talent for alchemy, then he wouldn't object to Yupan Hu pursuing her. He would even help him and lend him a helping hand. As for whether Yupan Hu's status in the family would increase because of Han Jingjing's addition, Old Master Yu did not care. He valued the overall interests of the family. If Yu Zhentian took over as the family head in the future and could not even handle Yupan Hu and his wife, then it would be better to let Yupan Hu be the family head. A family head must have a tolerant attitude. If a family wanted to grow, it couldn't be achieved by suppressing other family members. They had to support each other and progress together. Only in this way could the family prosper. Otherwise, if he was the only powerful family head and everyone else was a coward, then the family would not be far from destruction. Let's stop here. Elder Yu waved his hand and said faintly, Next, let's talk about the Kong family. The Kong family? Yupan Hu was stunned. He didn't know why he suddenly brought up the matter of the Kong family. But looking at First Uncle's expression of understanding, he must have received the news beforehand. Since they told him, it meant that Old Master Yu and First Uncle had already regarded him as a core member of the family. This made Yupan Hu excited. Although he knew that his position as the family head was still far away, his grandfather was still alive. Even if his grandfather passed away, First Uncle would take over as the family head. When it came to his generation, he didn't know how long he would have to wait. It was not bad to get an elder position first. Yes, it's the Kong family. Old Master Yu nodded and said, Zhentian, tell Pan Hu about young Master Tian taking away Kong Ming from the Kong family. Yes, father. Yu Zhentian turned to Yu Coiling Tiger and told him about Sky Elixir Sect's young Master Sky Silkworm's purpose in coming to House Yu, as well as how he took Kong Xiaoming away. Of course, he left out some important details. After all, Yu Coiling Tiger was still young and didn't need to know so much. This was also what he and his father had discussed. Now, although they didn't know if the Kong family could prosper in the future, if Kong Ming was really accepted as a disciple by the fifth elder and was valued by Tian Can, then the possibility of him becoming the next elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect was very high. Then, the situation of one person in the Kong family ascending to the heavens would also happen. Although the Kong family's foundation was relatively weak and they didn't have any foundation, they still had someone above them. As long as Kong Ming became prosperous, the Kong family would become prosperous sooner or later. Therefore, regardless of whether Kong Ming could be valued or not, the Yu family must be prepared in advance to befriend the Kong family. If Kong Ming was valued, then the Kong family's development would be unstoppable. There was no harm in befriending the Yu family and the Kong family. If Kong Ming wasn't valued, then it didn't matter. Anyway, the Kong family had helped the Yu family a lot, so they could treat it as repayment. Grandpa, Uncle, do you mean that I should be on good terms with the Kong family? Yupon, who wasn't too stupid. He immediately understood what his grandpa and uncle meant. Yes. Old Master Yu nodded and said, if Kong Ming Ming is valued, the Kong family's rise to the sky is unstoppable. There is no harm in building a good relationship as soon as possible. But if Kong Ming Ming isn't valued, we can treat it as an emotional investment. It can also make the Kong family work harder for us. Then, is it just me? Yupon, who was somewhat inexplicable. Why did he have to do all the family's matters recently? Does Grandpa want to train me? That's not right. This matter, the Heavenly Elixir sect asked us to keep it a secret for the time being. If your uncle and I come forward, the Kong family will definitely be suspicious. Kong Like Ai, that old guy, is not a vegetarian. He is very shrewd. If he thinks of something, it will be difficult to handle. Old Master Yu explained, so, it's just right for you to go. But before we get further news from the Heavenly Elixir sect, you don't have to be too enthusiastic. Just keep in touch with the third generation of the Kong family. I understand. Yupon, who nodded. Who do you want me to contact? The third generation of the Kong family, Kong Ming Ming. Didn't he leave with the Heavenly Elixir sect? The third generation of the Kong family, there is also a Kong Xiaolong. He is currently studying for his PhD in biology at Donghai Industry University. But because of his internship, he wasn't in school. He might return to school to write his thesis. Try to get in touch with him. Yu Zhentian passed a document to Yupon Hu and said, oh, this guy looks quite gentle. Yupon Hu took the document and flipped through it. But when he saw the marriage between the Kong family and the secular Xiao family, and that Xiaolong's fiancée was Wang Xinyan, his eyes widened. Damn. No way. This green-haired tortoise's girlfriend is Wang Xinyan? What's wrong? Yu Zhentian frowned. What's the relationship between you and this Wang Xinyan? Chapter 22:55. Wang Xinyan? Lin Yi's girlfriend? Yu Zhentian paused. Isn't his girlfriend Tang Yun? How did it become Wang Xinyan? I don't know, but he and Wang Xinyan sit together in class every day. They're a couple. I'm sure they're close. Yu Coiling Tiger said, plus, everyone says that these two are related. I think it's true. Don't get involved in this. Lin Yi isn't easy to deal with, and we still need him. We're preparing to get the information from him. So, don't get involved in the grudge between him and Xiaolong. We'll see how it goes, Elder Yu said after a moment of silence. All right, I know. Yu Coiling Tiger nodded. Donghai City's outskirts, in a heavily guarded manner. Jiang Wen was casually playing with his phone, reading a novel called Very Pure, Very Flirtatious Prequel. The more he read, the more excited he got. He felt that there was a villain called Li Boyang in the novel. He really admired him too much. Just as his blood was boiling, Scorpion walked in. When bro? Oh? It's Big Scorpion. What's wrong? Good news? Jiang Wen asked. Did the professor make some breakthrough on his side? When bro is wise. Good news. Scorpion gave a thumbs up and said with admiration, indeed, Professor Een told me to inform Wen bro that the flaws Wen bro mentioned before were solved by him and his fellow disciples, and the experiment was successful. Oh? Not bad. Does that mean that even Lin Yi's pressure point technique is useless against our test subject? Jiang Wen asked excitedly as he thought about it. Yes, the 01 drug has been completed, and the new drug is named 02. The test subject injected with the drug is more durable than before, and he's not afraid of pressure point techniques. The drug has destroyed the pressure points, Big Scorpion said. This way, it's the same as strengthening the defense. Now, it can at least defend against 10 consecutive attacks from a Heaven rank initial phase master. However, the sacrifice is also very obvious. The attack power of the test subject is about the same as before. It can easily kill anyone below the early phase of Earth class. It can barely kill anyone between the early phase and the mid phase of Earth class. It can take down anyone between the mid phase and the late phase of Earth class. As for those above the late phase of Earth class, it can't kill them for the time being, but it can drag them out for a while. Very good. Jiang Wen didn't feel regretful at all. Instead, he was overjoyed. The attack didn't increase, but the defense did. Yeah, That Lin Yi is just an Earth-class mid-phase master. Even if he's stronger than normal masters, our test subject can still hurt him. Scorpion nodded. But this drug is still in its early stages. The production success rate isn't high. Don't worry. Take your time to perfect it. Oh, right. Has the test subject been created? I'll give one to Li Biaohan to see how good he is. Zhang Wen said. I can start my kidnapping plan now? All right, when bro. I'll go tell the professor to get a test subject. Scorpion replied. What about Li Biaohan? Get the test subject out. I'll contact Li Biaohan myself. Zhang Wen said. Yes. Scorpion nodded and left respectfully. Zhang Wen, on the other hand, had a cold smile on his face. Lin Yi, don't get too cocky. I'll get rid of you sooner or later, and Mengyao will be mine too. With the professor's research, Zhang Wen's ambition grew bigger and bigger. He wasn't satisfied with the current situation anymore. These test subjects were just the beginning. There would be test subjects 03, 04, and 05 in the future. Killing Lin Yi in one hit wouldn't be a dream anymore. Li Biaohan was in the boxing club when he received Zhang Wen's call. Because of Lin Yi's challenge last time, the entire club was in a state of panic. Seeing that Audi Q7 parked in front of the club every day, many of the members were terrified, afraid that Lin Yi would come looking for trouble again. There was no helping it. Even Li Biaohan suffered a loss. Li Biaohan tried his best to calm them down, but there were still some new members leaving the boxing club. Li Biaohan was a little annoyed seeing these new members leaving, but there was nothing he could do. There were fewer people helping him collect protection fees and forcing him to buy and sell. Naturally, Li Biaohan's income also decreased. He needed manpower to sell and extort new students from their dorms. Seeing his income decrease, Li Biaohan was in a bad mood. His phone rang, and Li Biaohan was a little excited when he saw the caller ID. He knew that Zhang Wen had been planning something big for him to do. There had to be some progress with the call. When bro. Li Biaohan picked up the phone respectfully. Come over now. The thing I mentioned to you last time can be carried out now, Zhang Wen said. Yes. Li Biaohan was overjoyed and quickly agreed. Half an hour later, Li Biaohan appeared in Zhang Wen's room respectfully. One bro, Scorpion bro. All right, no need for the formality. Sit down and talk. Zhang Wen waved his hand. I need people who can do things, not people who flatter me. I'll need you, Scorpion, and the others to cooperate with me sincerely. You'll be in charge of finding and investigating the target, and Scorpion will send test subject 02 to do the kidnapping. Yes. Li Biaohan nodded excitedly when bro. I've already chosen the first target. You've chosen? What does your family do? How much money can you squeeze out? Let me tell you, we need at least 10 million for this kidnapping. It's meaningless if it's too little. Zhang Wen's appetite was huge. He was used to doing big business without any capital, so he asked for 10 million straight away. It's Wang Xinyan, Li Biaohan said. Wang Xinyan? Who is she? Zhang Wen wasn't familiar with the name. What does her family do? How much money can they take out? That's Wang Xinyan, Lin Yi's girlfriend from school. Her family's in the medical business. 10 million is easy. Li Biaohan had found out about Wang Xinyan's family background during this time. He hated Lin Yi to the guts, so his first target was the people around Lin Yi. Chapter 22:56. But as much as he hated Lin Yi, he didn't let it get to his head. Touching Lin Yi's woman? What if Lin Yi intervenes? Wouldn't it be easy for us to fail? Who's going to take responsibility if we die before we succeed? When bro, don't worry. Normally, I wouldn't dare touch Lin Yi's girlfriend. After all, that guy's too powerful. Who would want to mess with him? Li Biaohan waved his hand. But I've asked around. Lin Yi's gone on a long leave, and we don't know when he'll be back. He hasn't been to school for a few days now. I've asked my men to look into it, and the people close to Lin Yi all prove that Lin Yi's gone out. Plus, I've also observed Mengyao. She's going to school with Yushu, Han Jingjing, and Han Xiaoqiao. The driver isn't Lin Yi, it's a chauffeur. Oh, Lin Yi's gone out? Zhang Wen's heart skipped a beat when he heard the news. If possible, he didn't mind causing some trouble for Lin Yi. Kidnapping Wang Xinyan would serve as a way to annoy Lin Yi. kidnapping Lin Yi's girlfriend when he wasn't around and extorting a huge sum of money. Lin Yi probably wouldn't be able to find any clues when he came back. That's right, bro, this is a great opportunity, Li Biaohan said. I've already looked into it. Lin Yi's definitely not around. Oh, let's do it then. Zhang Wen nodded. But let's make this clear. Other than kidnapping, don't do anything else to that Wang Xinyan. That Lin Yi is a mother-king maniac. If Xinyan really is his girlfriend, we can kidnap her, but don't do anything else. Lin Yi will kill anyone he suspects. He doesn't even need evidence. He might just kill everyone he hates in a fit of rage. That'd be F***ked. I understand, bro. Let's just ask for money and annoy Lin Yi. I won't cause any trouble. Even if Zhang Wen didn't say it, Li Biaohan wouldn't dare do anything. He was actually quite afraid of Lin Yi. Here, let's discuss Xinyan's schedule with Scorpion and come up with a plan. We'll kidnap her in a place with a lot of people, and it'd be best if everyone could prove that she was kidnapped. That way, we'll be able to get the ransom easily. Zhang Wen wasn't afraid of failure. With test subject number 2, who could stop him? All right, Li Biaohan nodded. Zhang Wen waved his hand and sent Li Biaohan and Scorpion out of the room. He continued reading very pure, very flirtatious prequel on his phone. Li Buoyang was a genius. The more he read, the more Zhang Wen admired him. He swore to be a villain like Li Buoyang. The day before the weekend, Wang Xinyan received an invitation from Meng Yao. She was invited to her house. Xinyan couldn't help but feel a little fearful at the thought. Meng Yao didn't invite her personally, but Han Jingjing had told her about it. It wasn't a formal invitation, but Xinyan's heart was still beating like a drum. Lin Yi was away, and Meng Yao was inviting her over. What did she mean? Was it a friendly invitation? Or was it a trap? Or was she trying to figure out her relationship with Lin Yi? Han Jingjing was only in charge of passing on the message. She didn't say anything else after that, but Wang Xinyan's heart was in a mess. They had agreed to meet at the parking lot after school, but Wang Xinyan was distracted again. She didn't pay attention in class, and she didn't take many notes. Wang Xinyan looked at the departing boss and put away her textbook. She shook her head. She promised Lin Yi that she would take notes for him, but today, Xinyan turned back to look at Han Jingjing, only to see that the girl was still playing with her tablet. Xinyan was hoping that Han Jingjing would take the initiative to call her, but Han Jingjing was so engrossed in her work that she didn't even seem to notice that class had ended. Jingjing, let's go downstairs now? Xinyan said helplessly. Class is over already? Han Jingjing raised her head in a daze, looking at the empty classroom. She smiled embarrassedly. Sorry, I was too engrossed. Let's go downstairs now. Yeah, Xinyan subconsciously agreed. She knew that if it was a blessing, then it wouldn't be a curse. She couldn't just ignore Meng Yao's invitation, could she? She carefully walked out of the classroom with Han Jingjing, as if she was a daughter-in-law visiting her home for the first time. Han Jingjing, on the other hand, didn't seem to notice that. Xinyan sis, I heard that Yao sis prepared a feast tonight. Right, do you like Western food? It's all right. Xinyan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Han Jingjing, on the other hand, didn't feel any pressure at all. But Xinyan, where was she in the mood to eat? In actuality, Meng Yao didn't have any ulterior motives for inviting Xinyan over. But, according to Han Jingjing, Lin Yi and Xinyan were very close in school, sticking together in class all the time. Meng Yao thought that there was an 80% chance that something was going on between Xinyan and Lin Yi. While Lin Yi wasn't home, she decided to probe Xinyan a bit. Xinyan. Meng Yao greeted Xinyan with a smile when she saw her and Han Jingjing walking over. Meng Yao, you Shu, hello? Xinyan's expression was a little unnatural, a little shy. Wu Chintian, we've met before. Chuntian nodded politely to Xinyan. Back in Yinjing, Xinyan was Xiaolong's girlfriend, so he didn't really mind. But now that Xinyan was Lin Yi's girlfriend, he didn't dare be rude. Xinyan couldn't help but think of the time when she had a meal with Xiaolong in Yinjing. Xiaolong and the Xiao family were all trying their best to please this man, and now he was Lin Yi's follower? This Lin Yi sure was something, getting followers everywhere. But before Xinyan could say anything, a black van without a license plate came barreling toward them. It screeched to a stop right next to Xinyan, and an expressionless man in black jumped out. He grabbed Xinyan's arm and pulled her into the van. Chapter 22:57. The black-clothed man didn't answer Qintian's question at all. He ignored Qintian and the others as he dragged Xinyan into the van. Die. Qintian was pissed, and this guy was ignoring him, kidnapping someone right in front of him. Did he think he, an Earth-class early phase, was a free lunch? The next moment, Qintian grabbed the man and roared, "Where do you think you're going?" The black-clothed man looked at Qintian coldly and pushed him hard, causing Qintian to stumble. The burly man in black got into the car, and the black van sped away. Qintian was shocked. He thought it was just a normal kidnapping, but he didn't expect the guy to be this strong. He didn't use all of his strength when he grabbed Lin Yi's arm, but he was still the inheritor of the Iron Fist arts. Lin Yi being able to break free meant that he wasn't simple at all. He was at least a practitioner. "Miss Chu, bring everyone back first," Qintian said hurriedly as he ran towards the direction of the van. Of course, he didn't think he could catch up to the van on foot, since he was only an Earth-class early phase. He didn't have that kind of speed. But when they got out of the school and reached a place with no one around, Chunyi yelled Feng. The purple thunderbolt beast appeared in front of Qintian. The beast and General Weiwu had been following Qintian secretly for the past 2 days. Qintian was his bodyguard on the surface, and the beast and General Weiwu were his bodyguards in the dark. Qintian couldn't catch up to the van, but the purple thunderbolt beast had no problem. Qintian sat on the beast and said, "Go after that black van." The beast wasn't happy about being ridden by Qintian, but when it thought about how he was the follower of its master, and that he was under orders to protect its master's friend, the beast whimpered and ran towards the direction the black van disappeared to. It was already dark, and the purple thunderbolt beast didn't have to worry about being discovered. Even if someone did, they'd only see a shadow, and they didn't know what it was. Scorpion couldn't communicate with the second test subject, but Qintian's interference made him realize that Qintian was probably a practitioner, but he wasn't a match for the second test subject. This was an oversight. Fortunately, test subject number 2 was more powerful. Otherwise, the kidnapping might have really failed. It wouldn't be easy to explain to Jiang Wen if things went badly. As for Li Biaohan, he was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. At this moment, he was sitting in a black Santana, watching the whole kidnapping process from afar. When he saw Qintian intervene, he jumped in fright. He was afraid of being exposed. This didn't just affect his income, it also affected his position in front of Jiang Wen. Now, he was reduced to the situation of driving a scrapped Santana off the line with a taxi. As the boss of several schools in the university town, it was very miserable. He had no choice. He had lost a car and a lot of money to Lin Yi. Where would he find the money to buy a new car? He could only drive a scrapped Santana that cost 2,000, stepping on the gas pedal and emitting black smoke. So, when he saw that Qintian failed to stop him and tried to stop him again, Li Biaohan jumped in fright and quickly called Scorpion. "Hello?" Scorpion picked up the phone. "What's up?" "Scorpion bro, the person who stopped you just went after them," Li Biaohan said. "What? Went after them?" Scorpion paused. "A car? I didn't see AX5 following them." "No, they walked," Li Biaohan said. "Holy H**T. Scorpion suddenly screamed as if he saw a ghost. He looked at the rearview mirror with his eyes wide open. Previously, he didn't feel that there was anything wrong. However, as his car turned into an alley, trouble came, and it was big. A man and a beast appeared behind him. Wasn't that the man who stopped test subject number 2 from kidnapping Xinyan? He didn't know what his mount was. It wasn't a horse, it wasn't a cow, it was more like a unicorn from the legends. Where did this person come from? Even if he was driving a tank or armored vehicle, it wouldn't be as terrifying and impactful to Big Mule when he was riding this strange thing. And that wasn't all. The thing that scared him the most was that this thing ran faster than a car, catching up in an instant. It seemed like it was running neck and neck with them. The man and beast had disappeared from the rearview mirror, because when Scorpion turned around, he saw Qintian smiling at him from the back of the beast. Fuck. Big Scorpion stepped on the gas pedal to the floor. Unfortunately, his car's performance wasn't up to par. He didn't expect such a big monster to chase after him. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat and had goosebumps all over. Chintian could only scare him a little, but he didn't dare force him to stop or let the beast flip the car. After all, Xinyan was still in the car, and she wasn't a practitioner. If the car flipped, she wouldn't be able to survive. So, Chuntian could only wait for Scorpion to stop the car himself. He could only make his move when he did. Scorpion looked at the monster that was running neck and neck with him. Bioweapons were scary enough, weren't they? And this thing came out of nowhere. Scorpion had no choice but to call Jangwin as he drove. When bro, it's bad. A monster is following me. What? Monster? Jangwin was enjoying his novel when Scorpion's words came out of nowhere. What monster? You're not awake yet, are you? No, when bro, there really is a monster, a man and a horse. That monster runs really fast, and it has a horn on its head, Scorpion said. Oh, wait, what did you say? That monster has a horn on its head? It can't be the purple lightning beast, can it? Jangwin, too, heard about the whole process of the Hidden House Summit, and that Linny had tricked a spirit beast from the Gone Mountain sect. It was the purple lightning beast, and he heard that it was quite fast. Purple lightning beast? What's that? Scorpion paused. Stop the car and let test subject number 2 fight them. If subject number 2 loses, you give Xinyan back to them, but if you win, we'll continue the kidnapping, Jangwin said after a moment of silence. Chapter 2258. After all, the purple thunderbolt beast was a factor he didn't consider before. He didn't think that there would be someone who could control the beast when Lin Yi wasn't home. And so, Jangwin told Scorpion to stop running and let test subject number 2 spar with the purple lightning beast. It'd be a good opportunity to test subject number 2's strength. Although the medicine was expensive, Jangwin didn't care about the money. Yes. Scorpion was scared, but since Jangwin asked him to stop, he had no choice but to find a place with no one and stop the car. However, Scorpion didn't get out of the car. He let test subject number 2 get out of the car, and then he held Xinyan hostage, observing the situation below the car. If anything went wrong, he'd drive away immediately. Xinyan was already tied to the car, so he wasn't afraid of her running away. Seeing Scorpion stop the car, Chuntian let out a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Scorpion would drive off the car. He wouldn't be able to do anything if that happened. He couldn't stop the car by force and could only follow from the side. It would be fine if he kept driving in the back alleys. But if he went to the downtown area, he and the purple thunderbolt beast wouldn't be able to show themselves. Seeing test subject number 2, the man in black, get off the car, Chuntian immediately became alert. This person in front of him was able to push his hand away so easily. His cultivation was definitely not low. Chuntian knew that the violet thunderbolt beast was stronger than him, and so he gave it a look, telling it to deal with test subject number 2 while he got on the car to save Xinyan. But, just as Chuntian came up with a plan, the man in black started attacking him the moment he got off the car. There was no room for negotiation or extra words, and he threw a punch at Chuntian's face. From Chuntian's point of view, there was no technique to this punch, and there was no strong chi wave. But for some reason, Chuntian felt a sense of alertness in his heart. It was as if the opponent's punch contained an infinite amount of power that he couldn't defend against. Chuntian subconsciously dodged to the side, not wanting to tangle with the man. He wanted to go around him to save Xinyan, but the man seemed to have locked onto him. Chuntian dodged, and the man's fist curved and swung at him. At this point, Chuntian couldn't dodge anymore. He had no choice but to raise his hand and meet the attack head-on. Chuntian, on the other hand, was still hoping that he'd be lucky. He was a practitioner of Iron Hands, and he'd reached Earth Class early phase. How could he not be confident in dealing with someone who didn't seem to have any strength? But when Chuntian's fist collided with the man's, he knew that he was wrong, and very wrong at that. It looked like a normal punch, but it was immensely powerful. Chuntian felt like he was an ant trying to shake an elephant, and with just one punch, he was sent flying, coughing up blood. Test Subject 02 could easily kill anyone below Earth Class early phase, and Chuntian had just reached Earth Class early phase. Naturally, He had no chance of winning against test subject 02. Luckily, he was a practitioner of both physical and spiritual arts, and he was stronger than most spiritual or physical practitioners of the same level. He was also an expert in iron hands. Using his own fist to fight test subject 02 was the only reason he didn't die. Otherwise, he'd be a corpse by now. Even so, Chuntian still suffered serious internal injuries. He was shocked. Where the hell did these kidnappers come from? How could he be so strong? He didn't look like a master, but he was so strong. Chuntian couldn't get up after falling to the ground. His opponent's strength was far beyond his imagination. Chuntian was full of confidence after breaking through and becoming an Earth-class early phase. But just when he wanted to show off his skills, he was dealt a heavy blow. Chuntian stared at the man, unwilling to give up. He watched as the man walked towards him step by step. Chuntian's heart was filled with bitterness. He'd underestimated his enemy, and he'd let down Lin Yi's trust. But, so what if he didn't underestimate him? Even if he knew that the enemy was strong, could he just sit back and not chase after him? Obviously not, so the result would be the same no matter what. Now, Chuntian could only place his hope on the purple lightning beast. Oh woo! The purple lightning beast could feel the strength of its opponent. It didn't expect Chuntian to be so weak. This also showed how strong the opponent was. The man didn't seem to care about the pressure brought by the purple lightning beast's roar, as if it had nothing to do with him. He punched the beast expressionlessly. As for the purple thunderbolt beast stopping him from killing Chuntian, the black-clothed man was neither happy nor sad, but his target had changed from Chuntian to the purple thunderbolt beast. He didn't show much fear towards the purple lightning beast, which was different from Big Scorpion. Of course, test subject 02 didn't have his own thoughts anymore. He only listened to Big Scorpion. Big Scorpion's order was to kill Chuntian and the purple lightning beast, so he only needed to listen. The purple lightning tempest beast could have dodged this blow, but it had thick skin and flesh. In order to test the black-robed man's trump card, it forcefully received the punch. After receiving this punch, the purple lightning tempest beast's heart sank. However, the speed of the purple electric beast of wind and thunder was fast. Taking advantage of the time it took to forcefully receive the punch, it also slapped at the black-robed, burly man. The black-clothed man staggered after being slapped by the purple electric tempest beast, but he stood up as if nothing had happened. In terms of resistance and defense, Professor Een and his senior and junior brothers had greatly enhanced test subject 02. It was incomparable to test subject 01, so the purple electric tempest beast's attack really didn't cause any damage to it. After all, he was now able to receive 10 consecutive attacks from a heaven rank expert. The purple lightning wind beast's attack power was nothing to him. When it saw the situation before it, the purple electric tempest beast instantly had the intention to retreat. Chapter 22:59. It wouldn't matter if it won, but what if it lost? Looking at Chuntian's face, if it lost, it would lose all its trump cards. It would be even more disadvantageous to the situation. The purple lightning beast was confident that with its speed and thick skin, it could fight against the Earth-class black-clothed man for 100 rounds. But what use would that be? It could only fight and fight, but it was impossible to defeat the man. Wasting time and energy on useless things wasn't a wise choice. With that thought, the purple thunderbolt beast had an idea. It quickly picked up Chuntian and retreated in the opposite direction. Although the purple electric tempest beast did not have the confidence to win, in terms of escaping speed, it was unparalleled. In the blink of an eye, it had disappeared. Scorpion didn't feel regretful that the purple lightning beast ran away with Chuntian. Instead, he let out a long sigh of relief. He ordered test subject number 2 to get in the car and stepped on the gas pedal, speeding towards the destination he had chosen. Although he felt that the purple lightning beast was afraid of test subject number 2, Scorpion was a little afraid of it. That thing didn't look like a human or a ghost, and it scared him just looking at it. As he drove, Scorpion called Jiangwen. Scorpion, how is it? Jiangwen wasn't playing with his phone anymore, anxiously waiting for Scorpion's result. Jiangwen didn't really care if the second subject died or not. The success rate of the 02 drug wasn't that high, but it wasn't a lost product. He didn't really care if Xin Yan was saved or not, but he did care if his right-hand man, Scorpion, didn't die. Jiang Wen was used to having Scorpion by his side. Scorpion had participated in many of his plans, and it was a walk in the park for him. If Scorpion died and he had to find someone else to replace him, it wouldn't be easy for him to get used to it. Brother 1, the person riding the beast, was severely injured by test subject number 2. The beast chose to retreat after exchanging a few blows with test subject number 2. It ran away with the injured person. Scorpion reported. Ran away? Not bad. Not bad at all. Jiang Wen was overjoyed. Even the purple tempest lightning beast was no match for his test subject. That was something worth celebrating. One had to know that even those few heaven-ranked old men didn't dare to go head-to-head with the purple electric storm beast. In the future, if he could get a few more test subjects, wouldn't robbing the hidden families be a piece of cake? He just didn't know if the second test subject could beat Lin Yi. Yeah, seems like test subject 02 is quite powerful, Scorpion said. Not bad. Since that's the case, let's stick to the original plan. Take Xin Yan to point 3, Jiang Wen ordered. Yes, Big Scorpion nodded. However, what Big Scorpion didn't know was that although there seemed to be no one following him, the purple electric tempest beast had been following him in the dark. The purple electric tempest beast was an ancient spiritual beast with high spiritual intelligence. After putting Chen Tian in a safe place, it flew towards the direction of Scorpion's van, but this time, it was in the dark. The car was on the road, and the purple electric tempest beast was running on the walls nearby. With Scorpion's senses as a normal person, naturally, he wouldn't be able to sense that the purple electric tempest beast was still behind him. However, test subject number 2 was strong, but it was just a puppet with no intelligence. It was impossible for it to sense that someone was following it. Big Scorpion had a smooth journey. They arrived at the number 3 stronghold. It was an abandoned farm. The property belonged to the Fire Wolf Gang, but in name, it was an unrelated company's property. If the police followed this lead, naturally, they wouldn't find anything. And Jiang Wen had always been careful, and it was impossible for him to make a mistake in the details. This was also the reason why he never got into trouble himself despite doing so many bad things. He never put himself in danger. The only time he did it was when he was blinded by love and hatred. He wanted to cut out Lin Yi's kidney, but he didn't manage to cut out Lin Yi's kidney. Instead, he cut out his own. From then on, Jiang Wen wouldn't do stupid things like this again. Big Scorpion drove the car safely into stronghold number 3. This abandoned farm had Fire Wolf Gang's minions waiting for them. Scorpion gave a few orders, and these people cooperated to lock Xin Yan in a room by herself. Test subject number 2, on the other hand, was ordered to stand guard at the door. The next thing to do was to wait for the news of Xin Yan's kidnapping to spread. After that, Scorpion could call Xin Yan's family and blackmail them. The purple thunderbolt beast appeared near farm number 3 without anyone noticing. After confirming that Scorpion had driven the car in and locked Xin Yan up, the purple thunderbolt beast turned around and left, leaving a trail of dust in its wake. The purple thunderbolt beast went to Chen Tian's hiding place and carried him back to the villa. Chen Tian was heavily injured, but he was a practitioner of both internal and external strength. He was only hit by test subject number 2, so his life wasn't in danger. But his pitiful state made Meng Yao, Yu Shu, Han Jingjing, and Han Xiaoqiao jump in fright. Meng Yao was counting on Chen Tian and the purple thunderbolt beast to save Xin Yan, but it seemed that not only was she not saved, but Chen Tian was also heavily injured. Wu Chen Tian, how are you? Meng Yao was worried. A while ago, when Linny was at home, nothing happened, but when Linny left, something happened. Did these people plan this? I'm fine. I won't die yet, but Wang Xinyan. Chen Tian felt that he'd failed Lin Yi's expectations. He'd been injured saving Tang Yun last time, and now he was injured saving Wang Xinyan again. Do you know who the enemy is? Meng Yao felt that things were a little weird. If it was Lin Yi's enemy who did this, then why not her and Shu? Why Wang Xinyan? Even he himself wasn't too sure about the relationship between Lin Yi and Xinyan. There were only rumors going around the school, so why did Xinyan have to be his enemy? Chapter 2260. I'll give Linny a call. Meng Yao hesitated and decided to call Linny first. But the call was disconnected. There was no signal in Wulongheot Mountains, so it was normal that Linny couldn't pick up. You can't get through? Chintian could tell from Meng Yao's expression that the call didn't go through. He sighed. There's only one way. What is it? Meng Yao asked. Although the one who was kidnapped was Xinyan, Meng Yao was still worried. If something happened to her, Lin Yi wouldn't be happy. The Hidden House Pie. Chintian said. Pai Jishan from the Hidden House Pie is boss's follower. If we can get Elder Pai to help, maybe things will turn around. Old Pai, will you help? Meng Yao knew what happened at the Hidden House Summit, but it was still a dangerous thing to do. Chintian was heavily injured, and House Pai wouldn't be able to get involved. We can only try for now. Chintian smiled bitterly. But what surprised Chintian was that when he called Pai Jishan's face was filled with passion. Chintian told Jishan about the problem and his plan, and Jishan only hesitated for a moment before saying that he would ask Elder Pai first before calling Chintian. Chintian breathed in relief. At least Jishan didn't reject him outright. This meant that there was still a chance. Jishan didn't dare waste any time after getting the call. He went straight to Elder Pai's room and told him what happened in Donghai. Chintian was injured in one hit, and even the purple lightning beast wasn't his match. It seems like the enemy is quite troublesome. Elder Pai frowned. Yeah, but this is a chance for House Pai. Jishan's heart ached as he thought about his unconscious brother. Although he tried to be nice to Linny didn't accept him that easily. House Pai had no choice but to keep Jihai's condition and wait for Lin Yi's treatment. Old Man Pai nodded. How could he not know that this was an opportunity? If he helped, then Lin Yi would definitely remember this favor. Not only that, but House Pai and House Han would also be on Lin Yi's side. If they encountered any trouble they couldn't solve, they could ask for help from Lin Yi. Let's go to East Ocean City tonight. Old Man Pai, who had always been cautious, finally made his decision. This was the biggest gamble of his life. This gamble was related to the future of House Pai. If he really did save Xinyan, then House Pai's rise would be just around the corner, along with Lin Yi's rise. But if he lost, not only would Old Man Pai get injured or even die, but his family would also have a huge enemy. But the opportunity was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to choose. All right, Jishan nodded firmly. He felt that the small characters around Lin Yi had all risen to the top. How many of those who went against Lin Yi had a good ending? Weren't Zhang Naipeo and Feng Nitian powerful? Both of them were crippled, but Lin Yi was still alive and kicking. Just this point alone was enough for House Pai to gamble. Chintian waited patiently after making the call. He wouldn't die for now, but he was worried about House Pai's reply. Meng Yao and Yu Shu, after sending Han Jingjing and Han Xiaoqiao away, sat on the sofa with their brows furrowed. Yao Yao, do you think this kidnapping has nothing to do with Shield Bro? Maybe it's not targeted at him? Yu Shu couldn't think of a reason for Xinyan's kidnapping. I'm not sure yet, but I'm curious as well. What's their goal in kidnapping Xinyan? Meng Yao was curious as well. The phone rang, and Chintian hurriedly picked it up. He looked at the caller ID, and his heart tightened. Master Pai. Although Linny said that Jishan was his follower, and according to seniority, that meant that he was Chintian's follower, but he was the one asking for House Pai's help, and Chintian didn't dare to be careless. Tian bro, just call me Pai. I've discussed it with Grandpa, and we'll head to East Ocean City tonight. I hope we can make it in time. House Pai had made their decision, and they were betting on Lin Yi. Naturally, they were a lot more polite to Chintian. That's great. I'll give you the address. Chintian quickly told Jishan the villa's address. After Jishan wrote it down, he said that he would drive there right away. After hanging up, Chintian let out a long breath. Everything's settled. Pai Jishan and Elder Pai will rush here tonight. With Elder Pai, a Sky Class Master, there shouldn't be any problems. Phew. Meng Yao breathed out in relief. Things were really strange sometimes. House Pai used to be her enemy, but now, they were Lin Yi's follower. Miss Chu, shouldn't we contact Xinyan's family now? Xinyan's in trouble. We should notify her family. Chintian suddenly remembered that they'd neglected something, and that was to contact Xinyan's parents. Perhaps they'd be able to get some clues from them, as well as the reason for the kidnapping. After all, Linny couldn't think of a reason why Xinyan would be kidnapped. Yeah, I forgot. Meng Yao slapped her forehead as she dialed Bai Weitua's number. She wanted him to get Xinyan's parents' contact information. Bai Weitua was a professor at the school, and it was a piece of cake for him to look up Xinyan's information. Chuntian could go through the Xiao family as well, but House Wu and the Xiao family weren't on good terms right now, and Chuntian didn't want to cause any trouble. Lingshan didn't think that she'd get kidnapped on her first day. The main character of the kidnapping case had some power and influence in her family, and they were related to the Xiao family. The kidnapped girl's mother was Xiao Qinlin, a member of the Xiao family. Her father, Wang Shubin, was a medicine merchant in the city. His business wasn't that big, but it was still a star in the area. Their daughter was kidnapped, and naturally, Lingshan was under a lot of pressure, especially on her first day as captain. She hadn't gotten used to it yet, and she had to throw herself into work. Chapter 2261. Mr. Wang, Miss Xiao, forgive me for being blunt, but did you guys offend anyone when you were doing business? Lingshan had no choice but to ask about these things in detail, since the kidnappers had called Xiao Qinlin earlier, saying that their daughter had been kidnapped and hanging up the phone. There was no reason, no motive, and no mention of the ransom. Wang Shubin and Xiao Qinlin were confused. They tried to contact their daughter but couldn't get through to her, so they hurriedly came to report the case. Who did you offend? Qinlin turned to Wang Shubin after some thought. Wang Shubin had always been the one in charge of the business, and Qinlin had always been in charge of the logistics. As a result, the chances of her offending anyone was very low, and the main thing was whether Wang Shubin had offended anyone. I've always been honest with my business. I've never done anything like that, and I work well with my business partners as well. We've been friends for many years, so I don't think we have any enemies. Wang Shubin shook his head after some thought. Then what about the Xiao family? Lingshan didn't get any useful clues, so she had no choice but to get straight to the point. The Xiao family? Officer Song, you know about the Xiao family? Qinlin paused. She'd never interacted with Lingshan before, so naturally she didn't know about her other identity. I'm from House Song, one of the noble houses in the past. Lingshan didn't hide anything. If this wasn't caused by you and your wife, then could it be caused by the Xiao family? I see. The Xiao family's people are very arrogant, and we don't really have much contact with them. Only this year, when my brother wanted my daughter to marry Xiaolong from House Kong, do we have some contact? Qinlin said after some thought. If we're talking about enemies, then the Xiao family seems to have offended someone called Lin Yi. Lin Yi? Lingshan shook her head with a bitter smile. He can't be the kidnapper. Why? Qinlin paused, not expecting Lingshan to deny the answer right away. She didn't like it. It took her so long to think of an enemy, but Lingshan said it wasn't. What was the point of thinking? Even if Linny had a grudge against the Xiao family, he'd go after the Xiao family. He wouldn't kidnap your daughter, Lingshan explained. The Xiao family is nothing to Linny. Lingshan wanted to continue explaining, but Wang Shubin's phone rang. Lingshan stopped talking and looked at Wang Shubin. This might be a call from the kidnappers. Lingshan signaled Lu Wangli, who had been transferred to Donghai with her, to investigate the situation. She turned to Wang Shubin. Pick it up first. If it's the kidnappers, try to buy as much time as possible. Wang Shubin nodded and picked up the phone. He saw a strange phone number, but he didn't think much about it. It was normal for kidnappers to change their phone numbers. He picked up the phone directly. Hello, I'm Wang Shubin. Hello, I'm Wang Shubin. Hello, I'm Wang Xinyan's classmate from university. There's something bad I want to tell you. Ming Yao's voice came from the other side of the phone. She didn't beat around the bush. Wang Xinyan was kidnapped at the school gate. What? You're Yinyan's classmate? Yinyan was kidnapped at the school gate? Wang Shubin was startled. He didn't expect it to be Xinyan's classmate. He only received a short call from the kidnappers, but they didn't say where Xinyan was kidnapped. He didn't ask either. Now that he heard that Xinyan's classmate might be a witness, he immediately said, I already know about this. Can you come to the police station? I'm at the police station right now. Can you tell the officers the details of Yinyan's kidnapping? Oh, okay. Meng Yao frowned when she heard that Wang Shubin already knew about Xinyan's kidnapping. It seemed like the kidnappers had contacted Wang Shubin already. This meant that the kidnappers weren't after Lin Yi. But in this case, the matter became even more confusing. If they weren't after Lin Yi, then it should be someone Xinyan or her family had offended. It should be a normal kidnapper, but that wasn't the case. Even Chun Tian couldn't take a single hit from them, and the purple thunderbolt beast couldn't do anything to them either. A kidnapper of this level didn't seem to be a normal person, did he? If they weren't after Lin Yi, then things were even more troublesome. They didn't even have an imaginary enemy. Wu Chintian, are you all right? Let Shu stay and take care of you? Meng Yao turned to Chintian as she was heading to the police station. I'm fine. I won't die. Chintian grinned. When boss comes back, he'll recover instantly. Plus, I still have Grandma's son to feed and drink. You guys go. Don't worry about me. Meng Yao nodded and quickly left the villa with Yu Shu. They drove to the police station in Donghai. Ling Shan was surprised to see Meng Yao and Yu Shu in her office, so they were the witnesses Wang Shubin was talking about? Song Fox. Sis, what are you doing here? Yu Shu was about to call Ling Shan Fox Song, but she remembered that Ling Shan had risked her life to help her and Meng Yao escape with Lin Yi. She couldn't bring herself to mock her like she used to. Plus, her brother had moved on, and Ling Shan had fallen in love with Shield Bro. She couldn't say anything more about Ling Shan. I just got transferred here. This is the capital, so it counts as a promotion. Ling Shan said, Where's Lin Yi? Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi went out. There's something they need to take care of. Meng Yao said. If Lin Yi was home, the kidnappers wouldn't have gotten away so easily. Chun Tian was in a bad state, but Meng Yao believed that if Lin Yi was home, Lin Yi would be able to do something about it. It was a blind trust. Meng Yao didn't know why or when it started, but she had this kind of stubborn faith in Lin Yi. Maybe it was because of Shu. Wang Shubin and Qin Lin were a bit weirded. How did these two girls know Lin Yi? And Xinyan seemed to know Lin Yi as well? They had suspected that Lin Yi had kidnapped his daughter, but now it seemed that Lin Yi wasn't home at all. Chapter 2262. It's like this. I invited Xinyan to my house today, and we were supposed to meet at the parking lot after school, but when she got there, a black van without a license plate rushed over and tied her up in the car. Meng Yao said as she turned to look at Wang Shubin and Qin Lin, not sure if she should tell them the rest of the story. You can't tell me what happened after that? Ling Shan could tell what Meng Yao was worried about. What? Is there something else? It's nothing much. It's just that Wu Chintian chased after her, but he wasn't a match for the kidnappers, and he didn't even last a single move. Meng Yao said with a bitter smile. She didn't tell them about the purple thunderbolt beast, because it wasn't a good idea to tell them about it, and secondly, she didn't want to tell them that the beast had already found the kidnappers' hideout. If Ling Shan attacked recklessly, she'd be in danger. The kidnappers' strength was beyond their estimations. They were definitely practitioners. What? Ling Shan looked at Meng Yao in shock. She knew how strong Wu Chintian was. He was a mystic late phase peak, just like her, and he was a practitioner of both body and spirit. If Wu Chintian couldn't even last a single move, then the kidnappers had to be at least an Earth class. Plus, Wu Chintian's already an Earth class early phase now. Meng Yao added. What? Earth class early phase? Ling Shan took in a cold breath, realizing that she'd underestimated the kidnappers' strength. She didn't think that they'd be able to take down an Earth class early phase in one move. It seemed like this kidnapping wasn't as simple as she'd thought. Yeah, at first, we thought that the kidnappers were after Lin Yi, that's why they kidnapped Xinyan. But now it seems like the kidnappers contacted Xinyan's parents first, so they probably don't have much to do with Lin Yi anymore. Meng Yao said. After Lin Yi? Ling Shan blinked. Wang Xinyan. She's Lin Yi's girlfriend in school. Meng Yao said. It'd be troublesome if she explained things like that, so she just said it like that. Compared to Ling Shan, Meng Yao was more inclined towards Lin Yi choosing Xinyan. After all, she and Shu weren't too compatible with Ling Shan. Ling Shan had protected them with all her might, but that was only because of Lin Yi. Qin Lin and Wang Shubin froze at Meng Yao's words. My daughter found a boyfriend at school? She wasn't with House Kang's Kong Xiaolong. The two of them felt like they were in a mess. Before, they had guessed that Lin Yi had kidnapped their daughter, but now, their daughter and Lin Yi were actually in a relationship. Could it be that the Kong family was dissatisfied and hired someone to do it? Then, could it be someone from the Kong family? Wang Shubin saw through his wife's thoughts, so he asked. House Kong can't have a master like that. Ling Shan shook her head. Plus, it doesn't seem like it. If it was House Kong, then they'd still be targeting Lin Yi. They wouldn't call you guys, so I feel like this kidnapping is more like a normal kidnapping. It's just that the kidnappers are a little special. Let's wait for the kidnappers to call and see what they want. That's the only way. Wang Shubin nodded. He was curious why his daughter was in a relationship at school, but he wasn't in the mood to ask about it right now. His daughter's safety was more important, and he could ask her about it after she was out of danger. Meng Yao looked at Ling Shan, wanting to say something. She wanted to talk about the hidden house pie, but Ling Shan didn't care about it. She was just worried that Wang Shubin and Qin Lin would spread the news. House Pie and Lin Yi were friends now, and if the other hidden houses found out, it'd be bad for House Pie. At the very least, they'd have to wait for Lin Yi to come back first. Then we'll go back first. We don't know much, that's all. Meng Yao said. All right, contact me if anything happens. Ling Shan's observation skills were sharp, and she could tell that Meng Yao wanted to say something. Naturally, Ling Shan could tell that Meng Yao wanted to say something, but maybe it was because Wang Shubin and Xiao Qinlin were here, so she decided to give Meng Yao a call later. Not long after Meng Yao and Yushu left, Wang Shubin received the second call from the kidnappers. Is this Wang Shubin? On the other side of the phone, a strange voice came through the voice changer. Yes, it's you. How's my daughter? Wang Shubin could tell that it was the kidnapper from before. Don't worry, Mr. Wang. Your daughter is fine, but that's just for now. Scorpion said. If Mr. Wang doesn't want anything to happen to your daughter, then you better do as I say. What do you want? Wang Shubin asked. Prepare 10 million and wait for my call. With that, the kidnapper hung up, not giving Wang Shubin any time to reply. Wait. Wang Shubin looked at the phone helplessly, shaking his head. This kidnapper didn't play by the rules at all. He wanted to do what Ling Shan told him to, but the kidnapper just hung up on him. Wang Shubin smiled bitterly as he looked at Ling Shan. Ling Shan, on the other hand, was waiting for Lu Wangli's reply. How is it? Ling Shan looked at Lu Wangli, who was walking over. Captain Song, the technicians have already traced the call, but the call was transferred multiple times from overseas. We won't be able to trace it in a short amount of time, Lu Wangli said. Ling Shan nodded. It seemed like the kidnapper was a veteran, and he was very familiar with these things. She had guessed that this was the case, but she didn't have much hope. Since the kidnappers were much stronger than an Earth-class early phase, it wouldn't be easy to find out the identity of the kidnapper through the phone. Did you find out where the car went? Ling Shan asked. Nope, it's a new MPV, and it was smuggled over. We don't have this model in the country, so we couldn't find any information. The kidnappers took the back alleys, and there were no surveillance cameras. Lu Wangli said. Ling Shan had pretty much expected this outcome. She turned to Wang Shubin. What did the kidnappers say? Chapter 2263. Although 10 million yuan was not a small amount for Wang Su, especially for a businessman like him, his liquidity was limited. After all, most of his money was spent on goods. It was a bit difficult to take out 10 million yuan at once. However, for the safety of his daughter, he would still try his best. Wait here, I'll go make a call. Ling Shan felt that she needed to talk to Meng Yao privately. She didn't know when Xin Yan became Lin Yi's girlfriend, but since she was Lin Yi's girlfriend, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore it. There had to be a way. Wang Shubin nodded helplessly. He'd wanted to ask for help from the Xiao family and House Kong. After all, Xin Yan was from the Xiao family, the daughter-in-law of House Kong. But after hearing that his daughter had a boyfriend at school, Wang Shubin gave up on that idea. Although, he didn't think that his daughter was that reckless. She was already engaged to House Kong, and yet she was still looking for a boyfriend at school? But the problem now was that it was better to believe it was true than not. If House Kong came and heard that his daughter had made Xiaolong a cuckold, they wouldn't let it go easily. It was better to wait for his daughter to come back and ask her about it. Lingshan, on the other hand, dialed Meng Yao's number as soon as she got into the office. Meng Yao wasn't surprised that Lingshan was calling so soon. Lingshan, sis. Yao Yao, is there something else? Lingshan asked. Wu Chintian has contacted the Hidden House Pai, and I heard that old Pai is coming here himself. He's going to take care of this personally. Meng Yao didn't hide anything from Lingshan. 1. Lingshan was from a noble house, and 2. They were familiar with each other. The Hidden House Pai is going to interfere? Lingshan didn't understand what Meng Yao was saying. Xinyan was kidnapped. Why would the Hidden House Pai be here? Weren't they Xiao family support? And did they have a grudge against Lin Yi? Pai Jishan from House Pai has already called Lin Yi his boss. Meng Yao didn't know much about the specifics either. Anyway, he's a Sky Class early phase. It shouldn't be a problem if he's there. That's good. Lingshan had been thinking about asking the Supernatural Investigation Department to get involved after hearing that the guy was a practitioner, but it seemed like there was no need for that now. If even old Pai couldn't handle this, then no one else would be able to. Lingshan hung up and walked out to speak to Wang Shubin and his wife. I've made the arrangements. If the kidnappers call again, just do what they want and do it half-heartedly. Don't be in a rush to pay the money, though. It shouldn't be much of a problem if you drag it out for today. Lingshan didn't mention anything about hiding House Pai, and since Meng Yao didn't mention it, it meant that she didn't want Wang Shubin and his wife to know. Ah, that's great. Thank you so much. Wang Shubin said, relieved that Lingshan had arranged everything. Lingshan wanted to say that he didn't need to thank her, but decided against it after some thought. Scorpion thought that the job was done, and so he returned to the headquarters. He told 02 to continue watching Xinyan, and there was no need to worry about anything happening with him here. Jiang Wen went straight to the HQ. How was it? Nothing happened, right? Nothing after that. Everything went smoothly. Scorpion said, that's good. Jiang Wen nodded. Don't mess with people like Xinyan in the future. Nothing good will come out of anything related to Lin Yi. Yeah, it was really dangerous this time. Scorpion was scared out of his wits as well. Being chased by a random monster made his legs cramp, and he almost got into an accident. Right, as my brain, you shouldn't show your face all the time. It's easy to attract trouble. Do you have anyone else you can trust? Recommend me someone to help you out. Jiang Wen said, you won't be able to handle it yourself when we start robbing noble houses. I have a cousin in my hometown. His nickname is Little Pure. He's pretty smart. Maybe we can get him to try? Scorpion said after some thought. All right, let him come, but don't bring him to me yet. Arrange some things for him to do, and we'll talk about it when he's good. Jiang Wen was still wary of strangers. He knew the guy's background, but he wouldn't give him any important tasks. All right, I'll get him to handle some unimportant things for now, Scorpion nodded. The night passed uneventfully, and the sun rose in the midst of the tranquility. Lingshan, Wang Shubin, and Qin Lin didn't sleep the entire night, waiting for the kidnapper's call. But other than the previous call, there weren't any other calls. Scorpion was different from the other kidnappers. He was fearless, and he knew that it would take some time to prepare the ransom for Wang Shubin. It was useless for him to rush Wang Shubin. On the contrary, it would give Wang Shubin even more pressure if he didn't rush him. So, after saying goodbye to Jiang Wen's place, he went back to sleep, not worrying about Xinyan at all. With test subject number 2 guarding her, Xinyan wouldn't be able to escape. Even if someone tried to cause trouble, they'd have to be careful if they could leave alive. The next morning, Elder Pai and Elder Wu arrived at the villa almost at the same time. Elder Wu, Wu Gonggao, was the first to arrive. He had received good news from Chintian, saying that Lin Yi valued him greatly, leveling him up to Earth Class early phase, giving him physical practitioner's body refining elixir, as well as forming a connection with the Hidden House Pai. This made Gonggao very happy and surprised. Ever since Chintian became friends with Lin Yi, House Wu's power had risen, and Chintian's strength had risen from a mere Golden Class early phase to Earth Class early phase. He was several levels higher than the head of House Wu, and he was a practitioner of both inner and outer body. Who knew how many times stronger he was now? This time, not only did Chintian bring good news of his breakthrough, but he also received the body-refining fluid from Lin Yi. Most importantly, he received one for himself. Gong Gao felt that the smartest person in the family was still his grandson. Back then, Gong Gao was very unhappy that he had made Lin Yi his boss. He felt that it was a disgrace to the family, but now it seemed that Chen Tian was very smart. In the noble house level, Lin Yi was the strongest, and in the hidden house level, there were 2 hidden houses that recognized Lin Yi as their boss. Chapter 2264. There would be a day when House Wu would rise above the 2 hidden houses. Elder Wu felt that the revival of the house depended on Chen Tian. As for Chen Tian, Gong Gao didn't suppress him as much as before. This grandson wasn't his biological grandson, but he was his nephew. This was also the reason why he didn't want to train him. Chindi's father wasn't Gong Gao's biological son, but the adopted son of Gong Gao's younger brother. Gong Gao's younger brother died young, and not many people knew about this, including Chindi and Chindi's father. Now, Gong Gao understood that House Wu was too small of a stage. To Chen Tian, it was just a home, a place to come back often. Chen Tian's goal was to follow Lin Yi and walk to the peak of martial arts. Perhaps one day, reaching Sky Class, or even the legendary realm after Sky Class, wouldn't be a dream anymore. But this dream was shattered when he saw his grandson's condition. Gong Gao was shocked to see Chen Tian lying on the bed with wounds all over his body. His grandson was already in Earth Class early phase, a practitioner of both internal and external strength. In theory, spiritual and physical practitioners of the same level wouldn't be able to hurt him, but he was injured now. What did this mean? The enemy was so strong that Gong Gao could only look up to them. Chen Tian, what's going on? How did it end up like this? Wu Gonggao asked anxiously. The joy he had felt when he first arrived vanished in an instant. Grandpa, I'm fine. Chen Tian smiled bitterly. He didn't think that his grandpa would come at this time of all times. It really wasn't the right timing. He wanted to share his joy with his grandpa, but it turned into pain. The enemy isn't here for me and boss. It's a bit complicated, but now that boss is back, I'm fine. My injuries are nothing. Oh? Gong Gao paused, but he remembered that Chen Tian's injuries were just as bad. Didn't he show up at the noble house meeting full of vigor? It seemed that Lin Yi definitely had a way. Thinking of this, Wu Gonggao's expression softened a lot. Since this enemy isn't coming for you, what's going on? Chen Tian was about to explain when Grandma's son knocked on the door. Mr. Wu, there's an old man and a young man outside the villa, claiming to be from the hidden house Pi. They're looking for you. What do you think? Quick, invite them to my room. Chen Tian said quickly. Meng Yao and Yushu had already gone to school. Xin Yan was kidnapped, but life had to go on. Wu Chintian was waiting for the hidden house Pi to come, so there was no point in staying. As for Lin Yi, he still couldn't get in touch with him. The phone was still filled with the cold notification that the call could not be connected at the moment. Although the villa is different, I still remember what happened the last time I came to Boss Lin Yi's villa. Zhishan sighed. In the blink of an eye, I became Boss Lin Yi's follower. Actually, we, the hidden house Pi, should have made the decision back then. Zhishan remembered that Lin Yi's follower called Air Gooden, killing Jin Wudi with one punch. He couldn't help but feel emotional. Chen Tian had made the decision to call Air Gooden his boss, indirectly becoming Lin Yi's follower. House Pi, on the other hand, were a few months late. Perhaps it's not too late now. Elder Pi nodded with a serious expression. House Pi had always been a cautious person, and this time, Elder Pi personally brought Zhishan out of Malaysia to help Lin Yi. This was the first time in House Pi's history that something like this had happened. Although the Hidden Families Arbitration Association only existed in name, and most of the hidden families were getting restless and sending experts to stir up trouble in the secular world, heaven-rank powerhouses didn't dare to casually set foot in the secular world. After all, there was the restriction of the ancient plane. But this time, House Pi did not come to make trouble and stir up trouble. They came to save people. Even if the Holy Fist Palace knew about it, they would not blame them. What's more, this time House Pi came out, it was equivalent to betting on Lin Yi. In the future, they would share the glory and the loss together. If the ancient sects wanted trouble, it would be Lin Yi. With Lin Yi, House Pi was just a small character. So what if it was the ancient level? The everyday and everyday sect and the ancient house phone crippled 2 of their disciples. What about now? Didn't they still have to suffer in silence? You too, Mr. Wu invites you. Grandma's son walked out of the villa and said to Jishan and Elder Pai, who were deep in thought. Thank you. Elder Pai and Jihai were led into Qintian's room by Grandma Sunday. Grandma's son was just a housekeeper, but Elder Pai was very polite, not lacking in manners at all. Brother Wu. Jishan had expected this, but he was still shocked when he saw Qintian's condition. Qintian was an Earth-class early phase, about the same strength as Jishan, but he was beaten up like this. This meant that the enemy was very strong. I'm sorry, this is the first time we've met. Qintian smiled bitterly. But you don't have to worry about me when boss comes back. I'll be back to normal. Let me introduce you. This is my grandpa. Since Jishan was here, Qintian treated him as one of his own. He didn't hide anything from him. In fact, Qintian was afraid that Elder Pai would hesitate and not use his full strength. Qintian's words were actually hinting to Elder Pai that even if he was injured, it didn't matter. As long as he didn't die, Lin Yi could heal him. Oh! A strange light flashed in Elder Pai's eyes as he thought of something. He felt more confident in his choice this time. Elder Pai was a hidden person, but he knew quite a bit about Lin Yi, especially since he used to be Lin Yi's enemy. He had noticed a strange phenomenon before. Lin Yi was clearly crippled, and it was obvious that he couldn't live anymore. But every time, he would miraculously recover, and his strength would increase instead of decreasing. Chapter 2265. Otherwise, which practitioner would be able to smile with injuries like this? This meant that Lin Yi's medical skills were very good, and he had the ability to heal practitioners. Before, Elder Pai might have doubted it, but now that he saw Qintian, he believed it. Elder Wu, I've heard a lot about you. Elder Pai smiled at Gonggao, cupping his fist in greeting. Grandpa Wu, Jishan said respectfully. You're too kind, Elder Pai, little Pai. Gonggao was flattered, but remembering that they were all ranked according to the seniority of Lin Yi's follower, he didn't dare be too humble. He didn't want to embarrass Lin Yi. Elder Pai, we don't have much time. I'll treat you guys as my own. Qintian didn't want to waste time, and he didn't want to play dumb. Boss's powers are beyond your imaginations. Take me for example. I used to be a pure golden class early phase physical practitioner, but now, I'm an earth class early phase physical practitioner. We're all physical practitioners, and I'm sure you don't need me to tell you the benefits, do you, Elder Pai? Of course. Who doesn't want to be a physical practitioner? Elder Pai nodded in agreement. He'd always wanted to be a spiritual practitioner, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't even step into golden class. He had no choice but to give up. He understood that Qintian wouldn't say things without thinking. There must be a deeper meaning behind his words. If we succeed this time, and Wang Xinyan's sister-in-law is saved, I think boss won't let you guys work for nothing. You two will at least become mystic late phase peak spiritual practitioners. Qintian threw out a tempting offer. Although Linny said that House Pai needed his help, this was a dangerous mission, and without money, it was hard to say if Elder Pai would give his all. What if he backed out at the critical moment? And so, Qintian said all the benefits. Wu Gonggao sat quietly at the side and listened to his grandson's words. He couldn't help but sigh. His grandson had really changed. Not only had his strength increased, but he had also become more tactful. As a physical cultivator, Wu Gonggao knew very well that no one could reject this bargaining chip. As expected, Old Pai and Pai Jishan looked at each other after Qintian's words, and their faces changed drastically. They became heated and frenzied. They came here to help Lin Yi in his hour of need, but they didn't expect Qintian to give them such a big piece of cake. This was indeed a huge temptation to them. They finally understood why Qintian had leveled up so quickly, and they understood why that trash Han Xiaopa had become an Earth-class early phase just before the Hidden House Summit. So this was all thanks to Lin Yi. If that was the case, then the returns would far exceed their expectations. They were planning to just heal Jihai's injuries, but now, no wonder Qintian was so loyal. No wonder the hidden house Han was so fawning over Lin Yi. This time, the hidden house Pai wouldn't let go of this chance. At first, Pai Zhishan recognized Lin Yi as his boss. It was for his own benefit. But now, he was sincere. Don't worry, Wu Bro, Grandpa, and I will do our best to save Boss Woman, Pai Zhishan said with a fist salute. All right, I'll leave it to you then, Chintian said. Let the purple thunderbolt beast take you there. It knows where Xinyan is locked up, but the guards there are very strong, so it's up to you, Elder Pai. All right, Elder Pai agreed straightforwardly. They weren't surprised that the purple thunderbolt beast was with Lin Yi, since it was with Lin Yi back then. Right, that opponent, he's strong, but I feel like he's not smart enough, and his reflexes are really bad. If you fight him, Old Pai, it's best not to fight him head-on. Avoiding his attacks and attacking him, I think it'll work. Chintian recalled the fight yesterday and came up with this conclusion, telling it to Old Pai in case he made a mistake. But this kidnapper gave him a familiar feeling, as if he'd seen him somewhere before, but he couldn't remember. Oh, I'll be careful. Old Pai nodded and said. But when Pai Zhishan and Elder Pai saw the purple thunderbolt beast, they froze. Wasn't this guy a yellow-class spirit beast? When did it become a mystic? And a mystic late phase peak at that? Could it be that Lin Yi could not only level up people, but also spirit beasts? What kind of scary concept was that? Old Pai and Pai Zhishan looked at each other again. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. Hidden House Han, it wasn't luck that they were able to stand out in the Hidden House Summit. Elder Pai shook his head, a bitter smile on his face. This time, we've all been dragged into this together. This Lin Yi is probably toying with us. Yeah, it's all thanks to Zhihai, or else we wouldn't have been able to find such a strong boss, Zhishan nodded. But it's not too late now. Our Hidden House Pai still has a chance. The purple thunderbolt beast didn't have any complaints about carrying Zhishan and Elder Pai on its back. It was a strong ancient spirit beast, but this was a critical time. It had to save its contracted master's woman, the mistress. How could it not be proactive? A woo roar. The purple thunderbolt beast came to the abandoned farm and roared softly, indicating that it had arrived. Elder Pai and Pai Zhishan got off the purple thunderbolt beast. This was the first time they felt the speed of the wind. From the villa to this place, it only took a blink of an eye. Zhishan, follow behind me later on the purple thunderbolt beast. I'll deal with that master, and you and the purple thunderbolt beast will go save Miss Wang. If that master attacks you, get on the purple thunderbolt beast and run. Don't fight him head-on. Elder Pai sighed and came up with a plan. Okay, I understand. Zhishan didn't try to show off. Chontian was already heavily injured. How could he fight the enemy head-on? Chapter 2266. But what surprised them was that there was no one guarding the entrance, and there didn't seem to be any sounds coming from inside. It was eerily quiet. Don't tell me they moved to another location? Pai Zhishan looked at the empty and quiet farm and asked curiously. Let's keep looking, Elder Pai said without batting an eyelid. The two walked deeper into the farm, but as soon as they turned the corner, they stopped. Because they saw a person, a burly man in black sitting at the door of a bungalow. He was just sitting there with a golden saber. This person, upon seeing Zhishan and Elder Pai, suddenly had a flash of light in his lifeless eyes. He stood up, and without a word, he threw a punch at Zhishan. Zhishan received his grandpa's orders and didn't try to be brave. He patted the purple lightning beast, dodging the man's attack. From what Pai Zhishan could tell, the person in the house behind the black-clothed man should be Wang Xinyan. He'd leave the black-clothed man to his grandpa, and Pai Zhishan and the purple thunderbolt beast quickly made their way to the door. The man saw Zhishan disappear, but he didn't chase after him. Instead, he turned his fist and threw a punch at Elder Pai. Elder Pai was already wary of the black-clothed man, and this guy changed his moves at the last minute. It was impossible for him to hit Elder Pai. Elder Pai easily circled to the black-clothed man's side, and with a punch, the black-clothed man staggered and spat out a mouthful of blood. Test Subject 02 could, in theory, take 10 hits from a Sky Class Early Phase Master, but they were both Sky Class Early Phase Masters, and their strengths weren't the same. Elder Pai was an expert in fists, and his punches were powerful, but his other skills weren't as good. But this man took a punch from Elder Pai head-on, and it was much stronger than a normal Sky-class early-phase master's punch. He didn't have any chi to protect his body, and so he spat out a mouthful of blood, suffering serious internal injuries. Of course, the black-clothed man was just a puppet. He didn't have his own thoughts and didn't know pain. Although Old Man Pai's punch caused great damage to him, he didn't seem to feel it at all. After being hit, he continued to punch Old Man Pai. Bam! Old Pai couldn't dodge in time and got punched by the man in black. Puffed. Elder Pai's blood was boiling, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His internal organs were also injured. It wasn't that Elder Pai was careless, it was just that he didn't expect his opponent to be so unpredictable. Usually, in a duel between masters, when one side was hit, he or she would have to dodge first to recuperate. Otherwise, the injury would be more severe, unless it was a fight to the death. But at the heaven rank, unless it was a life and death enmity, who would truly go all out? That was why Old Pai didn't expect the man in black to be able to retaliate after taking a punch from him. However, Old Pai was also beaten up. He punched again, directly hitting the man in black's head. This time, the man in black's injury was more severe. He staggered and fell, but it gave Old Pai enough time to retreat. Old Pai also saw through the man in black style. He was good at punching and kicking, but he was all brawn and no brains. He was a complete mess. Moreover, this person gave Old Pai a very strange feeling. There was an indescribable sense of déjà vu. The black-clothed man fell down, and Elder Pai naturally wouldn't let him go. He punched him again, breaking both of his arms. Then, he wanted to break both of his legs before he could get up. But what Elder Pai didn't expect was that the black-clothed man didn't even care about his shoulder blades being broken. He kicked Elder Pai, sending him flying away. This kind of situation where he wasn't afraid of pain and could still fight back as if nothing happened. Old Pai had never heard of such a situation before. Wasn't this too strange? In this kind of situation, if it was someone else, they would most likely scream and dodge first. But this person in front of him was completely different. What happened next made Old Pai even more confused. After the man in black got up from the ground, he swung his arms that he couldn't lift anymore and rushed towards Old Pai. If his arms couldn't do it, he could use his legs. When he got close to Old Pai, the man in black lifted his leg and kicked. Old Pai was speechless. How was this a master? He was simply a member of a suicide squad. He really dared to die. However, cursing was just cursing. Old Man Pai endured the internal injury from the kick and punched the man in black's leg with his fist. Old Pai only took a punch and a kick, but his injuries weren't light. He was a Sky-class early phase, but he didn't have chi to protect his body, and he didn't practice Golden Bell Shield, either. His defense was stronger than Qintian's, but he wasn't as strong as a Sky-class of the same level. And so, this injury greatly reduced his mobility. He couldn't dodge, so he could only use his fist to meet the man's attack head-on. Old Pai used all the strength in his body for this punch. He only hoped that he could finish off the man in front of him as soon as possible, even if he got hurt. Boom! Both sides clashed fiercely. One side charged forward without fear of death, while the other side used all of his trump cards. When the two collided, although there was no earth-shattering explosion of energy that came from a battle between internal martial arts masters, it still brought about a thunderous sound. The man in black was sent flying, and Old Pai also took a few steps back before falling on his butt. The man's leg wasn't hard, and it wasn't the kind of physical practitioner who trained their body to the extreme. It was just a normal kick, and even Old Pai heard the sound of the man's bones breaking. He couldn't understand why the man in black had so much strength, and it didn't seem like he was in any pain at all. Did the injury have nothing to do with him? Old Pai's fist wasn't crippled, but the recoil still damaged his meridians. Luckily, he was a physical practitioner, and the damage to his meridians wasn't that big of an impact. But if he didn't treat it, it would affect his speed and strength in the future. If it was an ordinary heaven rank initial phase internal chi master, he might not have been able to deal with test subject number 2 so easily. After all, this guy could withstand 10 full blows from a heaven rank initial phase internal chi master. 10 strikes, all at once. Wasn't that easy? But Elder Pai was a physical practitioner, and he was an expert in punches. His punches were very strong, and even if they weren't as strong as Gooden, they were still strong enough to split a mountain. He took care of the second test subject with just a few punches, but the price he paid was quite high. If it was a sky-class early-phase spiritual practitioner, they wouldn't be so heavily injured. After all, spiritual practitioners had chi protection, but Elder Pai didn't. When Jiang Wen was creating the test subject, he had neglected the factor of physical practitioners. Otherwise, things wouldn't have been so easy to solve. My grandpa's injured too. Zhishan smiled bitterly. We defeated the enemy and captured him, but it's not a complete victory. It's a Pyrrhic victory. It's fine, as long as he's not dead, boss will find a way. Chuntian saw that Pai Zhishan and Elder Pai came back alive, so he didn't mind anymore. He grinned. Why don't you guys stay here and wait for boss to come back? If that's the case, then we'll be troubling you. Zhishan wanted to do that. 1. Elder Pai needed to rest, and 2. He could bring Zhihai over to wait for Lin Yi to come back. Now that House Pai had saved his wife, he couldn't just keep pushing Zhihai away, could he? Right, Wu. What do we do with the kidnappers? Elder Pai asked. That. Let the police, it's not good to tell the public about what you did. Chuntian said. All right. Old Pai nodded. This was the safest way to hide the fact that House Pai's interference in the common world had already violated the agreement between the Hidden House Council and the Ancient Society. While it was done without anyone noticing, it was still better to keep a low profile. Thank you. Thank you, Xinyan said, finally able to relax after seeing Chuntian in Mengyao's villa. She quickly thanked Pai Zhishan and Elder Pai for saving her. You're welcome. Zhishan waved his hand. Then I'll have to trouble you to call the police, Ton Bro. I'll help Grandpa get some rest first. I won't be showing myself in a bit. All right. Chuntian nodded, asking Grandma-son to prepare a room for Zhishan and Elder Pai. After that, Chuntian noticed that Xinyan was still standing there. Sister-in-law, have a seat. Oh. Xinyan was a little embarrassed at how Chuntian addressed her, but it wasn't a good time to argue about it. Seeing that Xinyan didn't like to talk, Chuntian didn't say much and called Lingshan. Wu Chuntian? Lingshan had Chuntian's number, so she knew it was him the moment she picked up. Yes, it's me. Xinyan's been saved, and the kidnappers have been caught, but House Pai is involved, so it's better to keep a low profile. Chuntian said, so, bring some people here to take them away, and it'll be your credit? Chapter 2268. Lingshan, however, didn't decline the offer. She'd just been transferred to Donghai, and if she wanted to establish herself here, she'd have to show some impressive achievements. Wu Chuntian, on the other hand, knew how to pick the right time. All right, I'll bring my men over right away. Why don't you do it yourself? Chuntian reminded. It's fine. It's my subordinate from Songshan, Lu Wangli. It'll be fine, Lingshan said. Lu Wangli knew about Lingshan's relationship with Lin Yi, and he'd been promoted to vice captain with Lingshan this time. He'd been a squadron captain before, after all. All right, Chuntian nodded. After calling Lingshan, Chuntian called the miss, telling her that Xinyan was safe and that there was no need to worry. The miss and Shu breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed like House Pai was reliable after all. But at the same time, Scorpion, who went to the abandoned farm to deliver food, was shocked. Test Subject 02 was gone, and so was Xinyan. There were traces of a fight, and there were traces of blood as well. The lock of the door had been broken with brute force, and the rope binding Xinyan had been broken with brute force as well. This proved that there had been a fierce fight here, but Test Subject 02 wasn't a match for them. She was nowhere to be found. This situation made Scorpion jump, but he didn't dare stay any longer. He knew how strong the test subject was. Even Wu Chuntian and the Purple Thunderbolt Beast weren't a match for him. The person who could defeat him and save Xinyan was definitely not an ordinary person. Scorpion wasn't a practitioner, but even if he was, he wouldn't dare stay any longer. He didn't want that person to come back and cause trouble for him. Scorpion dialed Jiang Wen's number as he drove away. Scorpion, how is it? Jiang Wen didn't know that something had happened. When bro, it's bad. Xinyan was rescued, and test subject 02 is nowhere to be found. But there are signs of a fight and blood. Scorpion said urgently. What? Jiang Wen jumped in shock. You saved him? Then where are you? Come back, don't stay. I've already left, Scorpion said. I wouldn't dare stay in a situation like this. It's good that you're back. Jiang Wen sighed. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. But Linny wasn't home. So who saved Xinyan? Who could be a match for test subject 02? Lingshan was about to call for a meeting to discuss the kidnapping when she received Chen Tian's call. She quickly brought Lu Wangli to Lin Yi's villa. This was the first time Lingshan had come to Lin Yi's villa in Donghai, and Lu Wangli had gotten to know what had happened along the way. Lin Yi was the one who'd done it again? This time, Lin Yi wasn't here, and Lin Yi wasn't here. Lu Wangli didn't say much, however, and went straight to the police car with test subject number 2. Xinyan and Lingshan, on the other hand, got into the other car and drove back to the police station. Wang Zibin and Qinlin, naturally, thanked Lingshan profusely after seeing their daughter return safely. Lingshan was a little embarrassed, but Chen Tian had told her not to tell anyone about House Pie, so Xinyan didn't say much, only saying that Lingshan was the one who saved her. In the resting room, Wang Zibin and Qinlin talked to their daughter while Lingshan sent the suspect to the hospital with the other officers. They were waiting for him to wake up and give his statement. Yin Yin, I heard. You found a boyfriend at school? After asking about Yin Yin's well-being, Xiao Qinlin asked the question she was most concerned about. I. Xinyan's face changed as she blushed. She didn't expect her mother to ask this. Qinlin saw the change in her daughter's face, and her expression changed as well. So, it's true. I'm not really a boyfriend. I'm just a classmate I'm pretty close with. Xinyan was a little embarrassed, as if she'd been caught doing something bad. Just a classmate you're pretty close with? Qinlin didn't believe her. There was a girl called Mingyao who came. Did she say that? Xinyan didn't expect Mingyao to be the one to leak this out. She pursed her lips helplessly, not knowing how to explain herself. Yin Yin, you're engaged. You're different from other people. If House Kong finds out, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Qinlin said worriedly, remembering how she'd been locked up by the Xiao family brothers, and how they'd used Wang Zibin's company as a threat. All right, don't ask anymore. Wang Zibin frowned and cut Qinlin off. I didn't think much of that House King's kid. If Yin Yin has her own choice, then I'll give up the company. I've thought it through, and I've had enough. Especially with the kidnapping this time. The recovery of my lost daughter, it made me understand something. Nothing is more important than my daughter. I can give up on the company, and I can take out the 10 million that the kidnappers want with my entire fortune. So, let's not force Yin Yin too much. It's fine as long as she likes it. But my family in House Kong, I'm afraid that they'll do something out of line. They're practitioners, after all, and they have powerful backers behind them. Qinlin didn't have a choice. She was afraid that they'd do something out of line if she rejected the engagement. That's... Wang Zibin paused as he thought of the crux of the matter. He couldn't help but sigh, lost in thought. Mom, Dad, don't argue. I know what I'm doing. Xinyan sighed helplessly as she looked at her parents' troubled expressions. The atmosphere in the resting room became heavy and strange. Wang Zibin and Qinlin looked at their daughter, sighing with guilt. Qinlin, especially, wasn't happy with what her brothers were doing, but there was nothing she could do. Xinyan's heart was a mess. Her parents had found out about her and Lin Yi. After all, what should she do? Should she let nature take its course, or should she draw a line with Lin Yi? But Xinyan knew that she and Lin Yi weren't taking their relationship any further, and she didn't want to change her lifestyle for a random fiancé. Plus, she didn't like this fiancé at all. Xinyan couldn't help but feel a headache coming on. Chapter 2269. Lingshan's crime-solving skills surprised her new colleagues. They had no clue at all about this kidnapping case, But Lingshan had gone out, and not only did she rescue the hostages, she'd even caught the kidnappers. The kidnappers looked a little pitiful, but he deserved what he got. What depressed them was that the kidnappers' eyes were lifeless, and he didn't say anything. It was as if he didn't understand her at all. Lingshan had thought that he'd been beaten senseless by Old Pai, but after the doctor's examination, that wasn't the case. An unknown drug had been injected into the kidnapper's body, and the kidnapper's brain had been destroyed as well. To put it bluntly, this person was an idiot. If it weren't for the fact that he'd woken up with a cast on his arms and legs, and had broken the metal bed with one punch, everyone would have suspected that he was the kidnapper. But this person's strength and destructive power made people believe in how scary he was. This familiar situation reminded Lingshan of a case in Songshan, the bank robbery case with the fake Lin Yi. Back then, the fake Lin Yi was like this as well. Lingshan didn't dare tarry, and quickly reported it to Huaijuan. Donghai's situation came to an end for now. In the middle of the Wulonghao Mountains, Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi, and Skybolt Pig were caught in a huge net that fell from the sky. Not only did the net tighten rapidly, not giving Lin Yi any chance to escape, but they were also hung up in the air. And so, Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi, and Skybolt Pig were all suspended in the air. Lin Yi subconsciously wanted to use his hands to tear the net apart, but it was extremely sturdy, and Lin Yi couldn't break it with his bare hands at all. In the next moment, Lin Yi saw who they were, but these couldn't be considered people. They were giant spiders. Speaking of spiders, many people would associate it with a more terrifying appearance. However, these spiders didn't look scary. Instead, they were somewhat cute. They were like the chibi version of spiders in comics. The color patterns on their bodies were also very beautiful. It was similar to the Skybolt Pig. Although the Skybolt Pig was a pig, it didn't look as stupid as a pig. Instead, it looked very cute. Needless to say, Lin Yi knew that these spiders were probably some kind of ancient spiritual beasts. Maybe they were ancient spiders. In a place like the Wulonghao mountain range with abundant spiritual energy, it was normal for there to be more ancient spiritual beasts. If it was an ordinary mountain range, there probably wouldn't be a single ancient spiritual beast. You guys are ancient spiritual beasts, right? Why did you capture us? After Lin Yi roughly confirmed the identity of these spiders, he didn't show any hostility. Instead, he used a very friendly tone to talk to them. This was because Lin Yi knew that they should be able to understand his words. As expected, after the spiders heard Lin Yi's words, they looked at each other, but none of them answered Lin Yi's words. Perhaps it was because they were too weak to speak the human language, or perhaps they could speak but didn't want to say it. However, the first possibility was more likely. Because Lin Yi took a look, he realized that there were two mystic spiders, and the rest were golden spiders. They shouldn't be able to speak the human language. These spiders ignored Lin Yi. Instead, they dragged Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi, and the Skybolt Pig's big net and quickly moved towards a direction. Lin Yi looked at the Skybolt Pig and signaled it to communicate with these spiders. Squeak, squeak. The Skybolt Pig repeated what Lin Yi said before in the spiritual beast language. At first, these spiders didn't pay attention to the Skybolt Pig. However, when they suddenly heard the Skybolt Pig speaking the spiritual beast language, one of the spiders looked at the Skybolt Pig in the big net in surprise. However, it didn't reply and continued to move forward with the big net. Seeing that no spiders replied to it, the Skybolt Pig felt a little helpless. He looked at Lin Yi and shook his head. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It seemed that these spiders were most likely the big fire lion's enemies. But why did these spiders want to capture him? Could it be that they knew that he was friends with the big fire lions? Or was it because he accidentally trespassed into their territory? If it was the latter, then it should be easier to resolve. These spiders were probably trying to capture them back to their nest. As Lin Yi expected, these spiders brought Lin Yi and the others to a naturally formed cave. There were many spider spiritual beasts patrolling the vicinity of the cave. Lin Yi took a look and saw that they were around the yellow rank. There were also some mystic rank, but only a few of them. However, there was a big spider inside the cave that attracted Lin Yi's attention. A heaven rank spiritual beast was similar to the big fire lion. Sure enough, if they weren't of the same rank, how could they be opponents? Since it was a heaven-rank spiritual beast, it should be able to speak the human language, just like the big fire lion. Therefore, Lin Yi didn't need the skybolt pig to translate for him. The big net was opened, and Lin Yi and the others were placed on the ground. Lin Yi then climbed out of the big net. He looked a little embarrassed, but facing a heaven-rank spiritual beast clan, there was nothing to be ashamed of. You are the leader of these spiritual beasts, right? I know you can understand me and communicate with me. Lin Yi didn't panic. He calmly stood up and looked at the biggest heaven-rank spider. What is your purpose for coming to my territory? A human cultivator. The heaven-rank spider didn't answer Lin Yi's question. Instead, it directly asked a question. But this also indirectly answered Lin Yi's question, which was that it could speak the human language. Entered by mistake. Even if I said so, you wouldn't believe me. Lin Yi saw the ridicule in the heaven-rank spider's eyes and immediately changed his tone. He simply told the truth. I was avoiding the pursuit of my enemies and had no choice but to take this path down the mountain. I can't take the normal path anymore. How can I believe you? The heaven-rank spider asked after hearing Lin Yi's words. With our strength, would you believe me if I said that we came to look for trouble? Lin Yi smiled bitterly and shrugged his shoulders. Normally, I wouldn't believe you, but now is a special time. I can't help but doubt your purpose for coming here. The heaven-rank spider said, Moreover, I smell a familiar aura from your body. What is your relationship with the Fire Lion clan? Chapter 2270. However, on the surface, Lin Yi still maintained his composure and said, My previous identity was that of an adventurer. I went up the mountain with the Tagan family to capture the small fire lions. But there were some problems, and the capture of the small fire lions was only a pretense. I had other purposes for going up the mountain, so I had a conflict with the Tagan family. Lin Yi was purely asking and not answering, but it also showed that he had fought with the Fire Lion clan, so it was normal for him to have the aura of the fire lions on his body. You captured the small fire lions? Then why would they give you their most important flowing fire god bullets? The heaven-rank spider looked at Lin Yi with ridicule. Human cultivator, you are very dishonest. Since that's the case, I can only lock you up first. Flowing fire god bullets. Lin Yi didn't expect that the heaven-rank spider would actually discover that he had the flowing fire god bullets on him. This made him very shocked. Wasn't this heaven-rank spider a bit too powerful? That's a weapon used by the Fire Lion clan to fight against us. It can break our inescapable net. How could I not be familiar with that kind of thing when you carry it on you? The heaven-rank spider's voice was somewhat cold. Tell the truth or be locked up. You can choose for yourself. However, after being locked up by us, you might not think of you for 8 to 10 years. Whether you can persevere for that long will depend on your luck. All right, since that's the case, I'll be straightforward. Lin Yi sighed. He originally guessed that the Spider Spirit Beast clan was definitely the Fire Lion clan's enemy, so he didn't intend to reveal his relationship with the Fire Lion clan to avoid unnecessary trouble. But now, it seemed that the heaven-rank spider wasn't that easy to deceive. He had no choice but to tell the truth. Lin Yi could only tell the truth. The reason why I didn't say it before was because I had indeed intruded into your territory by mistake. I didn't want to disturb you. I just wanted to borrow the way down the mountain. If my guess is correct, you are the Fire Lion clan's enemy in the Wulong Haut mountain range, right? Not bad. The heaven-rank spider straightforwardly admitted. I'm indeed related to the Fire Lion clan, but it's like this. After saying that, Lin Yi told the heaven-rank spider about the purpose of his trip, how he joined the Tagan family's adventurer guild to participate in the mission, how he became enemies with the Tagan dragon, how he secretly helped the small Fire Lion clan, how he became friends with the Fire Lion clan, how he went up the mountain to obtain a treasure, how he was attacked by the Tagan family's experts, and how he was saved by the heaven-rank strange man. Naturally, Lin Yi didn't mention that he was healing the small lion and increasing its strength. Lin Yi couldn't say for the time being, especially since the heaven-rank spider and the Flame Lion clan were enemies. If Lin Yi mentioned it, the heaven-rank spider might do something out of anger. That heaven-rank old man is your master? The heaven-rank spider asked in a strange tone. You are also related to that sect on the mountain? Master, it could be considered a mistake, but we are indeed related to that sect, Linny said. You don't seem to be lying, but I can't let you go now. The heaven-rank spider said, although I have some friendship with your master, my son is missing. I suspect that this matter was done by the Fire Lion clan, so I want to use you as a bargaining chip to exchange for my son's safety with the Fire Lion clan. Your son? Captured by the Fire Lion clan? When did this happen? Linny suddenly froze. About 10 days ago. The heaven-rank spider didn't hide it. Then it definitely couldn't have been done by them, Linny said. It hasn't even been 10 days since I left the Fire Lion clan's lair. I haven't seen your son. Perhaps he is imprisoned in a certain place. The heaven-rank spider hesitated for a bit before saying, that shouldn't be the case. I don't think so. Why don't you tell me about your son? There might be some clues. Linny said, that's fine. The heaven-rank spider wasn't afraid of Lin stirring up trouble in its territory. It's like this. 10 days ago, my son went to the other side of the Wulong Haut mountain range to gather a natural treasure. That place isn't our territory or the Fire Lion clan's. It's only a public area. That place produces some natural treasures every year. But the natural treasure my son gathered is only useful to our spider clan. But the Fire Lion clan also knows when it matures, and my son still hasn't returned. Moreover, the subordinates I sent to look for him haven't found any clues, so I can't help but suspect that the Fire Lion clan did this to him. Oh? Linny frowned. If what the heaven-rank spider said was true, then the suspect might really be the Fire Lion clan. But Linny felt that it should be the Fire Lion clan, or else Lin wouldn't have known about it. Gigi, just as Linny was pondering with a frown, wondering how to make the spiders let them off, the lightning pig suddenly shouted. Lightning pig? Lin lowered his head to look at the lightning pig, but the lightning pig's words were clearly not directed at Lin, but rather at the heaven-rank spider. Oh, little thing, why are you asking if there are any more heavenly treasures? The heaven-rank spider doubtfully looked at the lightning pig. Hearing the heaven-rank spider's explanation, Lin slightly froze, but he instantly thought of something and said, the lightning pig is also an ancient spirit beast, but its ability is to search for treasures. I wonder if you have heard of this kind of spirit beast? Oh, search for treasures? This kind of spirit beast really exists? The heaven-ranked spider looked at the skybolt pig in shock, but when it saw the pig nodding its head proudly, it immediately understood what the skybolt pig meant. If you have the same kind of treasure, you can find my son in the same way? The lightning pig nodded, but it continued to explain with a GG sound. It meant that it could only find this kind of heavenly treasure, but if its son wasn't with the heavenly treasure, then it would be powerless. That's already very amazing. After saying that, the heaven-ranked spider gave a few instructions to its subordinates, and they immediately left. Not long after, they returned with a small box, and the heaven-ranked spider had its subordinates give the small box to the lightning pig. The lightning pig used its 2 front paws to open the box and carefully sniffed the contents before walking towards the exit of the cave. However, the spider's subordinates didn't stop it, they just let it walk out of the cave. Chapter 2271. Gigi. The skybolt pig called out twice in one direction, then stretched out his front paw and pointed in a direction. The heaven spider was a little surprised. It didn't tell Lin and the others which direction the treasure was produced in, but the skybolt pig pointed out the general direction accurately. Therefore, at this moment, it was even more convinced that the skybolt pig was really capable. Let's go and take a look together. Thinking of this, the heaven spider's attitude towards Lin and Sun Jingyi became a lot friendlier. It believed that they really wanted to help it. Okay, Lin nodded. He didn't think about escaping. After all, the so-called inescapable net of these spiders was a little scary. It was very difficult to escape from that big net. The heaven spider personally took a few more mystic rank spiders with Lin and Sun Jingyi. They quickly followed the skybolt pig towards the direction it pointed. Looking at the number of spiders, Linny found it hard to imagine that the Fire Lion clan could actually be evenly matched with the Spider clan in a situation where the number of their clansmen was unequal. Perhaps the Spider's attack power was relatively weak, while the Fire Lion clan's attack power was relatively strong. This was also the reason why the two clans couldn't do anything to each other. The key was that the treasure here was limited. People of the same trade were enemies. One mountain cannot accommodate two tigers, so small conflicts would definitely not end. This Firestream God Bomb might be the weapon to break the big net, but Lin Yi only had one left. He didn't think that he could escape from the siege of so many spiders. As the Skybolt pig walked further and further away, the Heaven Spider became more and more surprised. Because the Skybolt pig was walking towards the place where the treasure grew. But even though it was surprised, the Heaven Rank Spider became even more worried. Since the Heavenly Lightning Pig found the place where the treasure was produced, but didn't find the place where the treasure was, what was the reason? The treasure here had already been picked. Even the little spider, the son of the Heaven Spider, had disappeared. The Heaven Rank Spider had also sent its subordinates to search this path many times, but they couldn't find any traces of the small spider. I have already sent my subordinates to search many times on this road, but they didn't find any traces of my son. The Heaven Rank Spider said to the Lightning Pig. It was using human language so that Linny could understand it. Gigi. The Skybolt Pig shook its head and responded to the Heaven Rank Spider, telling it not to be noisy and not to be impatient. A mystic late phase peak spirit beast actually dared to do this to a Heaven-class spirit beast. Normally, the Heaven-class spider would have been furious, but now, it had no choice but to listen to the pig and wait for its next move. Skybolt Pig came to the place where the heavenly treasure was produced. It was a big tree, and the fruits on it had already been plucked. However, Skybolt Pig still stayed here for half a day, carefully smelling the scent of the place. Then, he suddenly turned around and walked in another direction. There was a steep cliff over there. The direction that Skybolt Pig went made the Heaven Rank Spider and Lin Yi very confused. Could it be that the small spider fell down the cliff? But obviously, this was impossible. The Heaven Rank Spider was the first to deny this idea. Their spider race knew how to make silk, so no matter how deep they fell, they could still make it back up. This was also why it didn't send anyone to check on the other side of the cliff. However, when Skybolt Pig came to the edge of the cliff, he pointed at the bottom of the cliff and kept making GG sounds. What? You mean to say that my son fell down the cliff? The Heaven Rank Spider asked in confusion. GG. Skybolt Pig nodded. Are you sure? The Heaven Rank Spider didn't really believe Skybolt Pig's words. But Skybolt Pig had found this place from the spider race's territory, so the Heaven Rank Spider couldn't help but believe that it had the ability to find treasures. GG. Skybolt Pig was a little impatient this time. Okay. The Heaven Rank Spider nodded and said to its subordinates, Make a net. Let's go down and take a look. These spiders didn't need to make a net to go down the cliff. They could just pull a thread and go down. But Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi, and Skybolt Pig couldn't. Although Linny could go down by himself with his strength, there was a ready-made cable car. So why not? The Heaven Rank Spider went down first, while Lin Yi and the others sat on the big net made by the other spiders. But when they reached the bottom of the valley, they heard the Heaven Rank Spider scream. It was because it found a small spider in a pile of rubble. At this moment, the small spider was pressed down by a pile of rocks and couldn't move. When it saw the Heaven Rank Spider and the others coming to save it, it immediately cried out. This small spider didn't seem to have much strength and didn't have any attack power. But it made sense. The spiders mainly relied on making nets to trap enemies, but their strength wasn't that great. Especially the small spider, its strength was only at the early phase of the golden class, so it couldn't have much strength. No wonder it couldn't get out after being pressed down by a pile of rubble. Under the command of the Heaven Rank Spider, the other spiders quickly moved the rubble away, and the small spider was also saved. However, the small spider's legs were injured by the rubble, so it couldn't move at the moment. And the reason why the small spider fell down the cliff was now clear. It turned out that the small spider found a treasure on the edge of the cliff and wanted to take it back. But who would have thought that the rocks on the edge of the cliff would loosen, and the small spider's silk wouldn't be able to support it? Instead, the loose rocks were pulled down, so the small spider fell down the cliff. Its body was pressed down by the rubble, and its legs were injured, so it naturally couldn't struggle out. The matter turned out to be that simple, but the spiders ignored the cliff and only searched the nearby mountain range, so they naturally couldn't find any traces of the small spider. But the heaven-rank spider glanced at the small spider picking the treasure on the edge of the cliff, and a gloomy expression flashed in its eyes, as if it was somewhat worried. Chapter 2272. The heaven-rank spider's attitude was very sincere when it said this. It looked like it was truly grateful to Lin Yi from the bottom of its heart, but it couldn't be blamed. Its son had been missing for so many days and had been found by the lightning pig brought by Lin Yi. How could it not be excited and happy? It's good that you found him. Lin Yi nodded and said, So, can we leave now? Of course. Any time. The heaven-rank spider said, But in order to express my gratitude, I ask you to give me a chance. Let our spider race entertain you and offer you some heaven and earth treasures. There's no need for a banquet. We don't want to stay in the mountain range for too long. If possible, it would be better to leave as soon as possible. Lin Yi waved his hand. He wasn't interested in the spider race's hospitality, but he was interested in the heaven and earth treasures. I don't think you are in a hurry, right? Moreover, if you don't want to go through the mountain range's main path and instead want to go down the mountain, then our spider race can still help you. The heaven-rank spider said, Apart from the main path, the other paths are incomparably dangerous. If you are careless, you might die without a burial. Oh? Lin Yi frowned and looked at the heaven-rank spider. So you have a good method? Yes, we are very familiar with the terrain of the Wulonghout mountain range. Apart from the main path, there is only one path down the mountain, but it is very difficult to find. This route down the mountain is only known to our spider race. We can help you draw up a simple route map. With our route map, you can take fewer detours and avoid unnecessary danger. The heaven-rank spider explained, I can't say that it will be smooth, but it will at least minimize the risk. Since that's the case, then it will be troublesome. Seeing the enthusiasm of the heaven-rank spider, Lin Yi couldn't refuse, especially since it had a map. This would reduce Lin Yi's troubles, and Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi would also be able to avoid some danger when going down the mountain. But at this time, a few of the spider's subordinates that were inspecting the small spider's injuries worriedly whispered a few words to the heaven-rank spider. The heaven-rank spider's expression suddenly became unsightly. What's wrong? Lin Yi couldn't understand their language. My son's leg is very serious. He might not be able to recover in the future. The heaven-rank spider sighed and said, But this is already very good. At least we found him and saved him. I am already very satisfied. I don't know what would happen if he fell into the hands of the Fire Lion clan. Maybe I can have a way, Lin Yi said after some hesitation. After all, the heaven-rank spider didn't seem that difficult to get along with, and it even gave Lin Yi a treasure and a map. This made Lin Yi feel that he should repay them. After all, he was the one who intruded into their territory, so he couldn't be blamed for catching him. What? You have a way? The heaven-rank spider was stunned and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. The injuries of spirit beasts are different from human cultivators. They can't be healed by eating elixirs. Elixirs are useful for human cultivators, but their effects are negligible for us spirit beasts. Naturally, it's not elixirs, Lin Yi said. Let me do it. After saying that, Lin Yi walked towards the small spider. As for the spider subordinates, they were somewhat on guard when they saw Lin Yi walking over, but seeing that the heaven-rank spider didn't stop him, they naturally didn't stop him. Lin Yi walked in front of the small spider, placed his hand on its body, and circulated the second layer of the art of dragon mastery. The small spider naturally knew that Lin Yi was one of the people who helped it discover, so it didn't resist. It only listened to Lin Yi's words and had some doubts in its heart. However, the next moment, a warm current flowed from Lin Yi's palm into its body, surprising the small spider. and its injuries were miraculously recovering at a speed that it could feel. It was really recovering. The heaven-rank spider was naturally a discerning person. Seeing that its son's injuries were recovering, its gaze towards Lin Yi became even more respectful and grateful. This human cultivator was really different from the rest. On the other hand, Sun Jingyi and Skybolt Pig had indifferent expressions, especially Skybolt Pig. Although he wasn't as powerful as the heaven-rank spider and didn't dare to act rashly, he still looked at it with a very proud expression. "It's done." Lin Yi stood up and said straightforwardly, "That's it?" The heaven-rank spider's eyes widened. Although it saw that the small spider's injuries were getting better, it couldn't be that fast, right? Wasn't this speed a bit too shocking? However, Lin Yi didn't answer. The small spider's actions had already answered the question. The small spider could walk normally, and it looked like it had never been injured. "Many thanks, human cultivator." Although the heaven-rank spider was grateful to Lin Yi, it wasn't that it didn't hold a grudge against him. The good relationship between Lin Yi and the Fire Lion clan made it a little uncomfortable, but now, it didn't care whether Lin Yi and the Fire Lion clan had a good relationship. This was because Lin Yi was a great benefactor to the Spider Clan. "You are a great benefactor to our Spider Clan, my son, and I will never forget it. If you need anything in the future, just say the word." Lin Yi shrugged. The Fire Lion clan had made a similar promise to Lin Yi. He didn't expect the Spider Clan to make a similar promise to Lin Yi. However, the spirit beasts of these two clans were mortal enemies, which gave Lin Yi a headache. But Lin Yi didn't want to get involved in the grievances between them. A mountain couldn't accommodate two tigers. Everyone understood this principle. Especially when spirit beasts were scarce in cultivation resources, there was no possibility of resolving the conflict between the two clans. Making them sit down and divide the resources was a very difficult matter. "Are you having a headache about the relationship between our Spider Clan and the Fire Lion Clan?" The heaven-rank spider seemed to have seen through Lin Yi's thoughts and asked. "Yes, you are all my friends now." Lin Yi nodded. It is normal for spirit beasts in the same mountain range to compete with each other. This has been the case since ancient times. The heaven-rank spider explained with a smile, "Only competition can promote the continuous development and cultivation of our two clans. If we really divided the cultivation resources, then our days would be easy and we wouldn't have to cultivate so hard." Chapter 2273. We spirit beasts have our own set of survival rules. The heaven-rank spider said, "Although the Fire Lion clan and I are enemies now, if there are other spirit beasts that want to occupy the Wulong Haut mountain range and get a share, our two clans will join hands to expel the other spirit beasts." "I was thinking too much." Lin Yi nodded. "Benefactor of human cultivators, how should I address you?" The heaven-rank spider asked. "My name is Lin Yi. This is my female companion, Sun Jingyi. This little thing is called Skybolt Pig." Lin Yi introduced Sun Jingyi's identity in front of the heaven-rank spider as his companion. He didn't say that she was his wife because there was no need to lie to it. "Mr. Lin, Miss Sun, shall we go back now? I will prepare a sumptuous banquet for you and offer our Spider Clan's treasures." The heaven-rank spider said, "Since the Fire Lion clan gave you their treasure, the Flaming God Bomb, then our Spider Clan will not show weakness. We will also give you our most valuable treasure." "Oh, the Spider Clan's most valuable treasure?" Lin Yi was slightly surprised. The heaven-rank spider's attitude towards him was obviously different. Previously, it only said that it would give him a heavenly treasure, but now, it wanted to give him the Spider Clan's most valuable treasure. Of course, Lin Yi also understood that this was definitely because he had saved the little spider. That was why the heaven-rank spider was so generous. There was no such thing as an undeserved reward, but Lin Yi had done a meritorious deed, so he wouldn't refuse. "This is the most valuable treasure we used to capture you, the inescapable net," the heaven-rank spider said. "This kind of inescapable net is something that many spiders of our Spider Clan spun together for a long time to weave. However, I can grit my teeth and give you 3. The heaven-rank spider said 3 was naturally referring to the 3 flaming god bombs that the Fire Lion clan gave to Lin Yi. If the Fire Lion clan could take it out, then they naturally wouldn't be outdone. As for the Fire Lion clan swallowing Lin Yi's frenzy fist, it could still make a flaming god bomb for a period of time. The heaven-rank spider naturally couldn't compare. 3 inescapable nets was already his limit, and this was even after going all out and taking out all of his family's wealth. Their spider clan didn't have the ability to swallow the frenzied fire fist to create a large web. Thinking about it, Lin Yi and the Fire Lion clan were really fated. Fortunately, Lin Yi and the spider race were friends, so it was impossible for him to stay with the big Fire Lion indefinitely. Otherwise, the Great Fire Lion could use Lin Yi's frenzied fire fist to create stream of inferno bombs, although it would take a long time to create each time. But this time was enough to make it much faster than if Lin Yi were to settle in the Wulongheot mountain range for a long time. Then the Fire Lion clan would probably make more fire stream bombs. At that time, the number of inescapable net on his side would not be able to keep up, and the Spider clan would suffer a loss. But Lin Yi had received benefits from the spider race, and it looked like Lin Yi wouldn't stay in the Wulongheot mountain range for a long time, so the heaven-rank spider was very relieved. This inescapable net is very strange. Naturally, Lin Yi knew about the large net that he had been caught in. That large net was extremely tough. With Lin Yi's ability, he would not be able to withstand it. It could not be destroyed in the slightest. Not bad. The heaven-rank spider proudly said, "The Fire Lion clan is an attack-type spirit beast. It's a huge blow to our spider clan. Therefore, in order to defend against their attacks when they are picking the treasures, we can use the inescapable net to trap them. In this way, they won't be able to break free in a short period of time." What about in the short term? In other words, it's possible to break free? Lin Yi asked. Of course, the Great Flame Lion's breath and the Little Flame Lion's flaming divine bullets can destroy the inescapable net. But it will take some time. This time is enough for us to escape back. The heaven-rank spider said, "It's near our cave. The Fire Lion clan wouldn't come to our cave and attack us for no reason." That's right, there's an ancient restriction formation here. Lin Yi nodded. The Fire Lion clan's cave also had an ancient restriction. It seemed that these spirit beasts had their own trump cards. Then, can my flaming divine bullets also destroy this inescapable net? Lin Yi asked. Apart from that, is there no other way to destroy this inescapable net? Your flaming divine bullets naturally can. The heaven-rank spider replied. But it's not that other people don't have a way. They can destroy the inescapable net by constantly activating martial skills or using weapons infused with true energy. However, even a heaven-rank expert needs a certain amount of time to destroy this inescapable net. I understand. This is a magic weapon that can tie up the enemy in an instant, but it's a one-time use item and can't be recycled. Lin Yi understood the use of this thing. It had to be said that this thing was the same as the flaming divine bullets. It was an excellent life-saving trump card. If Lin Yi had this thing earlier, he wouldn't have been in such a difficult situation when fighting against the Great Protector. He could have directly used the net to trap him. At that time, he could have used true energy bombs and flaming divine bullets to bombard him. Then, he could have escaped with Sun Jingyi and wouldn't have been injured. That's it. The heaven-rank spider said, "Currently, we only have these 3 pieces of the inescapable net. So, Mr. Lin, please don't think that we are stingy." Of course not. Lin Yi was too happy. For him, treating the small spider was a piece of cake. The Skybolt pig helped the heaven-rank spider find the small spider in order to get rid of the suspicion and leave this place. Therefore, these 3 pieces of the inescapable net were free. "Thank you for your understanding, benefactor," the heaven-rank spider said. As they talked, they returned to the spider clan's cave. The heaven-rank spider ordered the other spiders to prepare a banquet while it accompanied Lin Yi to chat with the small spider in the cave. Lin Yi looked at the 3 exquisite small nets in his hand. It was hard to imagine that this was the big net that had caught them before. However, this thing would only expand when it was in use. Normally, it was only the size of a small piece and could be carried at any time. After carefully asking about the method to use it, Lin Yi carefully put it away. This was a great thing. Lin Yi's harvest from this trip to the Wulongheot mountain range was quite plentiful. Mr. Lin, although the gift I took out might be a bit light, but I still have a very important news to tell you as a token of our spider clan's gratitude. The heaven-rank spider pondered for a long time before deciding to tell this news. Oh, what news? Linny asked. Chapter 2274. Heavenly Tao? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. This wasn't the first time he heard of this term. There should be a higher realm above sky class. This realm might be the legendary Heavenly Tao, but at least among the people Lin Yi had met, there wasn't a Heavenly Tao master. But no didn't mean it didn't exist. Things were often like this. If you didn't stand at a certain height, you wouldn't be able to come into contact with things at that height. Just like Lin Yi in the past, the noble houses were all high and mighty existences in front of Lin Yi. A secular house you once made Lin Yi embarrassed. When he first knew about the secular noble houses, how could Lin Yi have thought that there were hidden noble houses above the noble houses? When Lin Yi came into contact with the hidden noble houses and sects, Lin Yi realized that there were ancient noble houses and ancient sects above them. This was like a normal person who might never come into contact with a cultivator in his lifetime. Those golden class masters who acted as bodyguards for the rich, if they were just bodyguards, they might never come into contact with noble houses and mystic class masters. The logic was the same. The higher one stood, the farther one could see. That's right, but I don't know if there are higher realms above sky class. The heaven spider said, human cultivators are different from spiritual beasts. At least, I don't know if spiritual beasts have broken through sky class and entered the heavenly Tao. Then you mean that you know about human cultivators and the heavenly Tao? Lin Yi asked. The topic of the heaven spider was quite attractive to Lin Yi. That's right. You guys have some connection with the upper sect. I won't hide it from you guys. In the upper sect, there was a master at the peak of the late stage of sky class, infinitely close to the legendary barrier. The heaven spider said, and he, after that, went to pursue the heavenly Tao, the master of the fire lion. Lin Yi heard the fire lion mention this person. You know about it too? The heaven spider was a bit surprised. It didn't expect the fire lion clan to tell Lin Yi this. Yes, I heard. After he pursued the heavenly Tao, his whereabouts are unknown. Lin Yi nodded. It's not that I don't know where he ended up, but he went to another place. A legendary place where one can break through the barrier of peak late stage of heaven rank, said the heaven rank spider. You know where he went? Lin Yi's expression froze as he asked. It seemed that the heaven rank spider knew more than the big fire lion. What was going on? I don't know where he went, but I know how he went. The heaven rank spider said, our spider race helped him in this matter. You? Help him? Lin Yi's eyes widened. Isn't that person the great fire lion's contract owner? You and the fire lion clan are enemies, and he and you? Is it strange? The heaven rank spider looked at Lin Yi strangely. Our bottom line is that we can fight each other, but we can't kill each other. The heaven rank spider said, otherwise, although our spider race has the advantage in numbers, it wouldn't be too hard for the fire lion race to exterminate us. Other than me, it's easy for them to deal with the other spiders. Even so, we still have a lot of injuries. But we still have a knack for healing these kinds of injuries, so we won't be crippled. Chapter 2275. If we can stop them, we will, but if we can't, we won't force our way out. The heaven rank spider said, this is also the ancestral teaching that my master left for me. The big flame lion side is probably the same. After all, our two spirit beast clans only have two heaven rank spirit beasts. We can't contend against a large number of heaven rank human cultivators. If we can't do it, we will naturally protect ourselves. Our spider clan's duty is to wait for a peak heaven rank great perfection stage expert to appear in this sect and tell him the secret of the teleportation array. That's all. Then tell me now, wouldn't that violate your master's agreement? Lin Yi asked. This sect is already gone. Moreover, you have some relationship with this sect, so telling you naturally wouldn't be violating the agreement. The heaven rank spider said. Linny nodded and sighed. An ancient sect was actually destroyed in an instant. Do you know who the enemy is? I'm not sure. The heaven-rank spider shook its head and said, the enemy is very strong, and there are many heaven-rank experts. An innocent man's wealth is his own ruin. Linny sighed. For a so-called treasure, they actually made such a big fuss. Linny originally wanted to inquire about Faubert's enemies, but now it seemed that even the big flame lion and the heaven-rank spider were confused. Treasure. Naturally, that's the reason. But what they're looking for isn't the treasure. The spider's words shocked Lin Yi, making him jump in fright. It's not a treasure? Lin Yi was surprised. You can say that, but you can also say that it isn't. The heaven-rank spider said, this sect has two people pursuing the heavenly Tao, so it naturally attracted the greed of some forces. According to what I heard from those people, they heard that this sect has something that can help them break through the heaven rank and pursue the heavenly Tao, so they came to snatch it. But the treasure in your hands is being treated as something that can help them break through the heaven rank and pursue the heavenly Tao. Treated as something? Linny frowned. After carefully pondering over the heaven rank spider's words, he suddenly understood a few things. They are actually looking for that teleportation array, right? It's just that they don't know that there's a teleportation array here, and they think that the treasure is a treasure that can help them break through the heavenly rank and step into the heavenly Tao? That's it. The spider nodded. That treasure is indeed a treasure. It can provide pure chi to human cultivators, but I'm not sure if it can help a peak late-phase heaven stage cultivator enter the heavenly Tao. But this treasure was discovered by this sect in the last few decades, so it's impossible for it to be something that those people are imagining. So, it's a big misunderstanding. Linny smiled bitterly. Faubert was really unlucky. He made a treasure and caused others to misunderstand. It can't be considered a mistake. After all, the value of this treasure is immeasurable, said the heaven-rank spider. You're right, Linny said in agreement. Linny knew the benefits of his jade pendant space, although this strange white stone couldn't be compared with the jade pendant space. But if he took it out alone, it was still a very rare treasure in the world. Sun Jingyi quietly listened to the conversation between Lin Yi and the heaven-rank spider. Her heart was in turmoil. These things were too shocking. It was simply unimaginable. However, Lin Yi didn't seem to be on guard against her at all. Heaven stage, heavenly Tao. Although these things were very far away from Sun Jingyi was also a cultivator. She naturally understood the significance of these things. If the news spread, it would probably set off a storm, a legend. It could destroy an ancient sect. If they actually found the teleportation array, then it was really hard to say what kind of consequences it would bring. Was this trust in her? The corner of Jingyi's lips curled up into an inexplicable smile as she watched Lin Yi talking to the sky-class spider. She raised her eyebrows as well. There was a strange feeling in her heart. Did he really think of her as one of his own? After knowing so many of his secrets, would she always stay by his side in the future? However, thinking of the fierce competition for the girlfriend position around Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi was a little conflicted. Be it Song Lingshan or Yu Shu, they were all waiting in line, right? However, take this treasure back and don't spread it around. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of trouble. The heaven-rank spider reminded. Of course, even you and the Fire Lion clan couldn't fight against this force. I'd better be careful, Linny said in deep thought. After fighting with the Grand Guardian, Linny had this thought. Then I won't say more. The heaven-rank spider nodded. Aren't you anxious to know where the teleportation array is? What's the use of being anxious? I can't do anything if you don't bring me there. Linny shrugged. It's not a problem to bring you there, but with your current strength, it's best not to use the teleportation array. Let's not talk about the unknown dangers that might appear at the teleportation location. The energy produced by the teleportation array can't be endured by anyone below sky class. The heaven-rank spider explained. I understand. I'm just curious. I'm not that overconfident, Linny smiled. With my strength, isn't going to sky class island the same as suicide? The teleportation array is at the other end of the mountain stream. It's not easy for us spiders to cross. We have to draw silk one by one. You won't be able to cross it with your current strength. The heaven-rank spider said, "If you want to take a look, I'll bring some people to draw a silk bridge. It'll take about one night. You can go and take a look tomorrow. Then I'll trouble you." Linny said, "It's nothing. It's within my ability." The heaven-rank spider said. At this time, the spider subordinates had already prepared a sumptuous banquet. The wine was fruit wine that they brewed themselves. It was said that there were heavenly treasures added to it. It was very beneficial for cultivation. The food was also natural fruits. It was similar to what they ate at the Fire Lion's territory. Lin Yi wasn't polite. After eating a big meal with Sun Jingyi, the heaven-rank spider gave the cave to Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi, and the skybolt pig to rest. It then led its spider subordinates, and even the small spiders, to build a silk bridge for Lin Yi. Chapter 2276. Benefactor, our spider clan will need to weave the silk bridge through the night. It should be done in one night, the spider said. The heaven-rank spider said, "You can rest here tonight. No one or spirit beast will break through the ancient restriction and disturb you." "All right, thanks for the trouble," Linny said. "It's not that troublesome." In order to repay a favor, the spider shook its head and smiled. Linny nodded and didn't say anything else. After all, he was quite curious about the teleportation circle, and it would be troublesome for the spider clan to make the silk bridge in order to satisfy his curiosity, right? Although there are ancient restrictions in the cave, there aren't any outside. If you want to go out at night, you should be careful. The spider reminded, "We're not here, so we're afraid that your enemies will take advantage of this. I have 1,000 silk mask here. After wearing it, you'll look completely different. If you want to go to the toilet or something, it's best to wear the mask, and if someone asks, just say that you're a guest of our spider clan." The spider clan and the Fire Lion clan have always had grudges, and if it's someone from the Tagging clan, they'll definitely know about this. Seeing that you're unfamiliar and are guests, they won't do anything to you. "Thank you very much." Lin Yi couldn't help but feel grateful for the spider's thoughtfulness. If he and Sun Jingyi were the spider clan's guests, then it definitely wouldn't be the Zhang Naipeo who had a relationship with the Fire Lion clan. Plus, their appearances were different, so they wouldn't look into it. It was just that Lin Yi was a bit curious as to what that 1,000 silk mask was. "What's that mask you're talking about?" "This mask is a special treasure that our spider clan can make. It's just that it's very difficult to make, and it requires 2 spiders above the sky class to make it. It also requires a lot of external conditions and materials, so we only have one in stock," the spider said. "Only one of you can use it." With that, the spider took out 1,000 silk mask and gave it to Lin Yi. "This is it?" Lin Yi looked at the thin mask in the heaven-rank spider's hand and was somewhat amazed. That thing looked like a transparent silicone mask, but after touching it, it felt smooth and silky, just like human skin. It felt very good. "Yes, give it a try." The heaven-rank spider nodded. Lin Yi didn't try it. Instead, he directly put the 1,000 silk mask on Sun Jingyi's face. Sure enough, Sun Jingyi suddenly turned into another person, completely different from her previous image. Even Lin Yi, who was extremely familiar with her, couldn't recognize who she was at this moment. This was really a good treasure, and it was perfect for disguising himself. "So magical?" Lin Yi said in surprise. "Can this mask change its appearance?" "No, the appearance of this mask is fixed. You can't change it according to your own imagination." The heaven-rank spider shook its head and said, "I have heard of a mask that can change one's appearance according to one's imagination, but I don't know how to make it, so that's how it is, but this is already very good." Lin Yi said, "Your spider race only has one such precious item. I'm a bit embarrassed to ask for it." "Hee hee, it's useless for our spider race to keep this mask. We don't need to change our appearance." The heaven-rank spider said, "My previous contracted master and the second person who passed through this teleportation array also don't need this thing. So I'm giving it to you, benefactor. Then I won't refuse." Lin Yi no longer declined and accepted the mask. This was indeed a good thing. Lin Yi really couldn't refuse. "I'm done. I have to take my people to work. See you tomorrow morning, Mr. Lin." "Mr. Lin, the heaven-rank spider said. See you tomorrow morning. Lin Yi nodded. After the heaven-rank spider left with its subordinates, Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi also went to sleep. The heaven-rank spider had prepared a bed in the cave, so they didn't have to worry about not having a place to sleep. Jingyi was tired as well, and soon fell asleep. Lin Yi, on the other hand, went into the jade space to continue his training. Ever since leaving the big flame lion's nest, Lin Yi had been worried, afraid that the Great Protectors group would come looking for trouble. And that night, Lin Yi's group slept very soundly. They didn't need to worry about enemies invading, nor did they need to worry about any accidents happening. Although Lin Yi was also inside the jade space and was using his mind power to sense the surroundings, it was a lot more relaxed compared to the previous few nights. Sun Jingyi slept very well, and the Skybolt pig also slept very soundly. When the man and the beast woke up, the sky was already gray. It was dawn. Phew. Sun Jingyi stretched, but didn't get up. Instead, she laid on the mattress and looked at Lin Yi lazily. She had a natural charm. I slept very soundly. I haven't slept this soundly in a long time. Lin Yi looked at Sun Jingyi. Her current appearance was the most seductive. This woman had an indescribable charm. Her casual movements could tug at a man's heartstrings, and people couldn't help but want to push her down. There really wasn't a woman like this around Lin Yi. The mist was a bit cold, Shu and Xiao Xiao were a bit crazy, Wang Xinyan was a bit quiet, and Lingshan was a bit fiery. On the other hand, Sun Jingyi had an indescribable charm. No wonder Wu Qintian was so infatuated with her. If Lin Yi didn't have enough willpower, he would have fallen for her already. Lin Yi didn't mind having something happen with Sun Jingyi, but now wasn't a good time. Can you not tempt me like this? Lin Yi's eyes swept across Sun Jingyi's beautiful figure and said faintly, Tempt? Are you that easily tempted? Sun Jingyi smiled faintly. The first time I saw you, I asked you for help. You seemed to have a strong willpower, and you didn't get blinded by beauty at all. People change, Lin Yi said. Recently, my willpower hasn't been good. Maybe it's because Xiao Xiao left. Let's not talk about this. Sun Jingyi didn't hate this ambiguous topic, but she was afraid that Lin Yi would bring up Xiao Xiao and Tang Yun. This was a taboo topic, so Sun Jingyi didn't say much. What time is it? Chapter 2277. Let's go out and take a look. I guess the spider race is almost done? Sun Jingyi said. It should be almost done. Lin Yi nodded and left the spider's cave with Sun Jingyi. However, what made Lin Yi feel strange was that there was no spider at the entrance of the spider's cave. It wasn't strange that there were no spiders guarding the entrance because there were ancient restrictions in the cave, so there was no need to worry about external enemies invading. However, it was strange that there wasn't even a spider waiting to inform them. Although the heaven-rank spider said that it would help Lin Yi weave a silk bridge last night, the entire spider race had been dispatched. With so many spiders, how could it not be finished in one night? How big of a project was this? Besides, even if it wasn't finished, it was already dawn. The heaven-rank spider should have sent a spider back to inform Lin Yi, right? Now there was not a single spider. What was the situation? Thinking of this, Lin Yi frowned. He suddenly had a bad premonition. Could it be that something went wrong? After carefully looking around the surroundings, Lin Yi didn't find any abnormalities, and there were no traces of fighting. In fact, Lin Yi was just taking a look. If something really happened here last night, it was impossible for Lin Yi, who was cultivating in the space of the jade pendant, to not notice it at all. Why is there not a single spider? Sun Jingyi also noticed something was wrong and asked curiously. I'm afraid. Something went wrong. Lin Yi didn't know where the Sky Moat mountain stream was. The heaven-rank spider didn't explain in detail last night, and Lin Yi didn't ask. After all, he knew that the heaven-rank spider would take him there, so he naturally wouldn't ask those meaningless questions. But now, there wasn't even a direction. It can't be, right? Isn't this their territory? How could there be a mistake? Moreover, even if there was a mistake, it's impossible that there isn't a single spider, right? Sun Jingyi said curiously. I don't know yet. I have a bad feeling in my heart. I keep feeling that something is going to happen, Lin Yi said. Is it because there isn't a single spider that you feel that something is wrong? That's true. Sun Jingyi nodded. Could it be because the silk bridge hasn't been built yet, so they're working overtime? We can't rule out that possibility. After all, Lin Yi did not understand the habits of spirit beasts. Perhaps the spider spirit beast was the kind of spirit beast that was more rigorous and would not stop until it was done. Shall we wait then? Sun Jingyi asked. That's the only way, Lin Yi said. Just like that, the two of them and Skybolt Pig waited at the entrance of the cave. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. Lin Yi's heart grew heavier and heavier. He felt that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Although he didn't know what the problem was, it was definitely not normal. Seeing that Lin Yi's expression was getting heavier and heavier, Sun Jingyi couldn't help but ask, "Is there a problem?" Who knows? Lin Yi didn't expect that there would be a problem. Perhaps there really is an accident. The Spider Clan doesn't seem like spirit beasts that don't keep their promises. Moreover, if they didn't keep their promises, there was no need for them to tell us about these things. They could have just not said anything yesterday. We will leave today. There's no need for them to disappear. Then, what should we do now? Sun Jingyi nodded and asked in agreement. Skybolt Pig, can you find out where the spiders went? Lin Yi turned his head and looked at Skybolt Pig. He could only place his hopes on Skybolt Pig. Rawr. Skybolt Pig nodded to indicate that he could. He had already remembered the smell of the Spider Clan. As long as they didn't go beyond a certain range, he would be able to find them. Okay, bring us to them now. Lin Yi immediately made a decision. Rawr. Skybolt Pig ran in front while Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi followed behind. They headed in the opposite direction of the valley where they picked the herbs yesterday. Skybolt Pig was heading towards the dark side of the Wulonghout mountain range. There were fewer types of plants and the road was easy to walk on. However, Lin Yi's heart was filled with vigilance. He was always on guard against any accidents. However, it was very quiet along the way. There were no spirit beasts, no signs of human activity, and no unexpected accidents. Soon, a magnificent silk bridge made of spider silk appeared in front of Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi from afar. The silk bridge went through the two sides of a mountain stream. It was obvious that the Spider Clan had finished weaving the silk bridge. However, this situation made Lin Yi feel even more strange. Where did all the spiders go? The silk bridge was here, but not a single spider could be seen. This strange situation made one's hair stand on end. It was too strange and too scary. Lin Yi didn't rush forward recklessly. Instead, he stopped in his tracks and carefully sensed the reaction of the jade pendant. If he continued forward and the jade pendant gave him a warning, it would be too late like when he was caught by the huge net. After all, the situation in the Wulonghout mountain range was special. Knowing the danger didn't mean that one could avoid it. Just like the spider's inescapable net, even if Lin Yi received a warning from the jade pendant, he would have enough time to react. However, the huge net was different from normal dangers. Not only could it expand, it could also shrink, making it impossible for people to defend against it. Therefore, this time, Lin Yi learned to be smart. He decided to wait and see. It seems like there isn't any danger. Lin Yi touched his chin. His expression was a little strange. In fact, he didn't quite believe it himself. There was no danger here at all. After all, the situation at this time had exceeded Lin Yi's imagination. Sun Jingyi was silent. She didn't have the right to speak because she had zero experience in this situation. It wasn't good for her to casually answer and affect Lin Yi's judgment. Let's take a look first. Lin Yi could only walk in the direction of the silk bridge. To be honest, Lin Yi could totally turn around and leave now, but he couldn't resist the curiosity in his heart. Let's not talk about where the spiders went. The mysterious teleportation array that led to the Heaven Stage Island also made Lin Yi very curious. Sun Jingyi was also a little curious. Although her cultivation path was different from others, the legendary threshold that could break through the Heaven Stage and step into the Heaven Path was enough to arouse her strong curiosity and desire. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi reached an agreement. They moved forward again and came to the edge of the silk bridge. There was no accident. The jade pendant on Lin Yi's chest was also calm. However, the more it was so, the more uneasy Lin Yi's heart was. Chapter 2278. But the silk bridge had been built, and the spider race had disappeared. I'll go take a look first. You wait for me here. If the situation is not good, take the skybolt pig and run back to the cave. I'll also give you these 3 inescapable nets. Linny said as he gave the inescapable nets that the heaven-rank spider had given him to Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi didn't want Lin Yi to take the risk, but after coming here, Lin Yi wouldn't be willing to leave without taking a look. Therefore, Sun Jingyi hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Okay, you go, but be careful. Lin Yi nodded with a smile and jumped onto the silk bridge. Although the silk bridge looked a bit like walking on a tightrope, it wasn't difficult for a cultivator like Lin Yi. Moreover, the silk bridge wasn't long and the mountain stream could be seen at a glance. On the bridge, Lin Yi walked forward slowly as if he was walking on thin ice, paying attention to the jade's reaction as well. What made Lin Yi pleasantly surprised and regretful was that when he reached the other side of the mountain stream, the jade pendant didn't have any reaction. In other words, Lin Yi didn't encounter any danger. However, the more it was like this, the more Lin Yi felt that something was wrong. There was no danger. So where did the spider race go? Wasn't this a bit unreasonable? No problem. Lin Yi waved his hand at Sun Jingyi and then quickly walked back along the silk bridge. Lin Yi could smoothly cross, but it didn't mean that Sun Jingyi could. Although Sun Jingyi was also a cultivator, she was a very different kind of cultivator. In fact, she didn't have any strength. This silk bridge was a bit difficult for her, so Lin Yi had to support her. After returning to the silk bridge, Lin Yi had a better understanding of its sturdiness. Although it looked very thin, it was very sturdy. Therefore, he, Sun Jingyi, and the skybolt pig had no problem getting on the silk bridge. This bridge looks a bit scary. You have to support me. I'll definitely die if I fall. Sun Jingyi looked at the bottomless mountain stream and said with a guilty conscience, even if you can heal, I won't be able to survive if I fall and turn into a meat patty. Then you can hold me. I won't die if I fall, but it will be hard to get up. Lin Yi looked at the bottom of the mountain stream. He didn't lie to Sun Jingyi. This mountain stream was very steep. Even if Lin Yi fell, it wouldn't be easy for him to get back up. Lin Yi couldn't jump so high. Even if it was divided into multiple jumps, it still wouldn't work. This cliff was very steep, and it wouldn't be easy to find a foothold. It wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't too high, but it was too deep. Unless Lin Yi could fly, he wouldn't be able to get up. Then it's better not to fall. Sun Jingyi said, if we fall, we'll be savages for the rest of our lives. However, as she said this, Sun Jingyi suddenly had a very strange feeling in her heart. If she and Lin Yi fell together, would they be considered a husband and wife, and then stay together for the rest of their lives? Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't say anything. He carried Jingyi in his arms while she was thinking about the problem, taking big steps towards the bridge. Lin Yi didn't have any problems with his balance. Not to mention carrying Sun Jingyi, even if he was carrying a heavier object, as long as the silk bridge could withstand it, Lin Yi would have no problem crossing it. The skybolt pig was small and very agile, so crossing the silk bridge wasn't a problem. Soon, 2 people and 1 beast arrived at the opposite side of the silk bridge. Lin Yi also put Sun Jingyi down, but Sun Jingyi was a little embarrassed to be carried by Lin Yi. She glanced at Lin Yi, but didn't say anything. Because Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Yi's face had become serious, so she didn't joke anymore. What's wrong? There are traces of battle here. Lin Yi pointed at some marks on the ground and said to Sun Jingyi, could it be that the spider clan met their enemies here, and something happened? Here? Sun Jingyi lowered her head and carefully looked at the direction that Lin Yi pointed. Sure enough, she saw some messy footprints on the ground, as well as some withered grass that had been burned by fire, so she said, the Fire Lion clan? They came here? It's hard to say. Lin Yi stood up and said, let's go forward and see. I don't know what the situation is here, but if there was a battle, we didn't find any corpses of spirit beasts. Yes, this platform doesn't look big. Besides the cave not far away, There is no other way to go. It's clear at a glance. If a battle happened here, then where did the spider clan go after the battle? Sun Jingyi said strangely. Let's go inside the cave. Linny raised his head and looked at the cave, then said, if my guess is correct, that cave should be the location of the teleportation formation. Let's go and take a look first. Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi walked towards the cave together. They could see the situation inside clearly by standing at the entrance of the cave. The cave wasn't big, so they could see the whole inside at a glance. There were no spirit beasts in the cave, and it was quiet. In other words, there were no spirit beasts on this platform, including the cave. It seems that things are really strange. Linny pondered for a moment, then said, there are so many spiders. Even if there was a conflict with the Fire Lion clan, it's impossible for all of them to disappear. Could they have been captured by the Fire Lion clan? Sun Jingyi guessed. That's not possible, right? Even if the Fire Lion clan has the advantage of offensive attributes, it would be difficult to capture so many spiders. Linny shook his head and denied this idea. 3 fire lions and the number of spiders simply weren't equal. Linny believed that they could kill all of these spiders, but capturing all of them wouldn't be that easy. It was almost impossible. In any case, let's take a look inside the cave first, Linny said. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi entered the cave. There was actually nothing special inside the cave. What made Lin Yi curious was the teleportation formation. Lin Yi wasn't too sure, because he only saw a few stones on the ground forming a strange symbol. He didn't know if it was the teleportation formation that the heaven-rank spider mentioned. As for how to activate it, Lin Yi didn't know, and he didn't dare to casually try. Lin Yi could only take out his phone and take a picture of the situation inside the cave. He was going to take it back and study it carefully when he had the chance. Chapter 2279. It should be. Linny shrugged. Other than that, I really don't know what else is special about this cave. Sun Jingyi carefully looked around the cave, but she really didn't see anything special. Other than the pile of strange stones on the ground, there was nothing else that could be called a teleportation array. Is it really here? Sun Jingyi looked at the stones on the ground suspiciously. Why does it feel like it's broken? That I don't know. Linny was just guessing. It's really strange. Sun Jingyi frowned. Let's leave this place first. Linny looked around, and his curiosity was satisfied. He found that this place was just a so he wasn't interested in staying any longer. Sun Jingyi naturally didn't have any objections. On the way back, Lin Yi still hugged her, which made Sun Jingyi's heart ripple again. Skybolt Pig, do you know where the spiders went? This was almost the end of the mountain range. Lin Yi couldn't see the spiders, so he could only pin his hope on Skybolt Pig. Gigi. Skybolt Pig shook his head. He used his front paw to point here, and then waved his hand. Linny understood what he meant. It meant that the clues stopped here. He could only find this place based on the smell of the spiders, but there was no way to continue searching. Okay. Linny smiled bitterly. Even Skybolt Pig couldn't find the spiders, so Lin Yi didn't have to continue searching nearby. However, before leaving, Linny still didn't give up. He returned to the spider's nest with Sun Jingyi and Skybolt Pig, but to their disappointment, the spiders still didn't appear. The cave where the nest was located was still quiet, and there was no sign of any spiders. Let's go, Linny sighed, thinking that this matter was strange. In just one night, it had become like this. Things were very strange. Although nothing had happened for the time being, there was no guarantee that something would happen after a long time. In short, Linny did not want to stay in this strange place any longer. Where are we going now? Sun Jingyi asked. Let's go look for the Fire Lion clan. The heaven-rank spider said that apart from the main path leading up the mountain, there is only one path leading down the mountain. Moreover, it is extremely dangerous. If we go there, we might not be able to survive. Lin Yi dispelled the idea of taking a risk. The spider race had disappeared and the map was also gone. Linny planned to go to the Great Fire Lion to take a look. If it also had the map, that would be the best. He could also take the flaming god bombs and inquire about the spider race. All right. Sun Jingyi nodded. Lin Yi left a message on the ground of the cave, explaining that he and Sun Jingyi had left first. Although the spiders had disappeared for no reason, Lin Yi wasn't sure if they would come back. It wasn't very polite to leave without saying goodbye, so Lin Yi decided to leave his whereabouts behind. It could be considered an explanation to the spiders. Walking out of the spider race's territory, Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi's complexion was not very good. Things were really too strange, beyond their imagination. From here, although Lin Yi was not very familiar with the road to the Fire Lion clan's cave, with the Thunder Pig as a guide, there would not be any problem. Although they were in the middle range of the Wulong Haut, Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi did not relax. They were afraid that the people of the Tagan family would come looking for trouble. However, what Lin Yi did not know was that Old Six had been squatting near the top of the mountain and had no intention of going to the middle range. Old Six also knew that there were two spiritual beasts in the middle range. Unless he had nothing better to do, he would not go and fight with those two spiritual beasts. These days, Old Six had been walking back and forth around the upper range of the Wulong Haut mountain range. He also found the cave that Lin Yi had lived in. However, he did not find anything valuable in the cave. Instead, he found a small iron box. From its appearance, it should be a box that stored something valuable. If Old Six's guess was correct, this box should contain the treasure that Master wanted. However, this treasure had already been taken away. This box obviously had no value. Other than that, there were also some fast food packaging in the cave. From this, it seemed that the people in the cave had not left for long because there was not much dust on the packaging and the iron box. With 12th guarding the lower part of the mountain range, 6th brother was not afraid of anything. He only needed to guard the upper part of the mountain range. If they really encountered a master who could split the mountains and split the seas, even if he and 12th went together, it would be useless. Now, Old Six was hoping that the one who killed Old 13 was not Zhang Naipeo and his wife, but someone else. It would be best if they could split up. If they did, then he would be able to find trouble with Zhang Naipeo. Old 12 had been blocking the path down the mountain with House Tagan's guards. Every day, they would interrogate the adventurers going up and down the mountain. However, these people were all very weak. Most of them hadn't even stepped into Golden Class, and the strongest was only Golden Class. Plus, the number of adventurers in each team was the same as when they went up the mountain, so there wasn't much to investigate. House Tagan may be the strongest, but that was a hidden strength. On the surface, they were just a little stronger than the others. They couldn't interfere with the adventurers going up the mountain through other families and forces. After all, they couldn't just seal the mountain just because of House Tagan. Old 12 didn't have that intention, and House Tagan naturally wouldn't do anything unnecessary. But today, the situation was a little different. Suddenly, a strange cry came from not far from the exit of the mountain range. Following that, a crazy old man with disheveled hair and tattered clothes ran down the mountain. He didn't hide his peak heaven-rank strength and revealed it to the world, causing everyone's expressions to tighten. And Old 12's expression changed. A Sky Class late phase peak, the same level as Old 6. Although he was also Sky Class, he was only Sky Class early phase peak. There was a huge gap between him and the person in front of him. Could it be that this was the master that Old 6 had mentioned? With that thought, Old 12's heart skipped a beat. Although he came from that place and had a pure practitioner's arts and techniques, making him stronger than normal people of the same level, he didn't have much confidence against a Sky Class late phase peak that was a few levels higher than him. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.